And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Happy to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of these Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and all the time online at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We are up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe with you on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.mixlr.com. We appreciate you being here, whether you are watching or listening. Thank you for your time. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', giving you the list of topics and guests for the day. We'll start the show off in hour number one with my good buddy, fellow broadcaster and writer, Ross Turetsky. We'll talk about sports and life. We have some plans. We have the Giannis trade. We have the NBA potentially in Las Vegas. We have Jake Paul looking at playing in the NFL. But you know that this show, well, I mean, when it comes to Ross and I, it's funny. And it always goes where it goes. So we'll see what we end up talking about today, but that's the plan. And then in hour number two, we will have a special guest, Jessica Phillips, my Bearcat Breakroom with her, as she is from Binghamton University softball history and hails from Central New York, my neck of the woods, from CNS. And she will be inducted into the Binghamton University Athletic Hall of Fame this year here in 2026, so we get to hear her story, the multiple layers to it, and the fact that the current softball head coach at Binghamton University was her teammate, Jess Bump. So a lot of great stuff coming up in the story of Jessica Phillips, and then we'll round out the show with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. And the topic today for the ingredients to success that we will break down is to essentially be able to navigate through the no's, knowing that a yes is on its way. So with all that being said, we have Ross Turetsky here with me, picture in picture, and always happy to have my buddy here on the broadcast with me. Always a good time. Ross, how we doing?
I'm doing well, buddy. I got my little Turbo Man toy, Jamie! And I got my son, LJ, who might pop in and out with his Leo Messi shirt. Big, you know, he likes to trash Messi. We've been watching a lot of World Cup. He likes to say Ronaldo, all this social media with kids who I don't even know how much they've watched of soccer. They're like, oh, Ronaldo's better than Messi. Messi's better than Ronaldo. I've been having a ball watching World Cup, and I'm not even the greatest soccer fan in the world, but World Cup, get very passionate about our country. United States have won the first two games. They've gotten to the knockout round. They still have one more game on Thursday. So that's been fun. And then Messi, right now, Argentina, the defending World Cup champs, have scored 5 goals. They won 3-0 game one. Yesterday, they won 2-0 against Austria. I think the first game was against Algeria. He has scored all 5 goals for his team, and now is the sole possession, most goals in World Cup history with 18. But there's a few guys nipping at his heels, some of the superstars. So he's been doing great. Ronaldo, it was disappointing. He scored a goal, and it was a 1-1 tie in his first match with Portugal. But we've had a great time with it. But LJ might pop in and out during the show. He's got a Messi shirt on, and he's very into his World Cup. And he has brought some toys with him. You want to show him quickly? Yeah. All right. So show your Funko Pop. He's got Wolverine.
Yeah.
Stitch. And Deadpool. And for the right price, you could have these. We're on a QVC show. You got to do a side hustle in summer. Daddy daycare with me and LJ. And when his sleepyhead sister wakes up. So you could have all these, and we'll throw in Turbo Man for the grand old prize of $1,000. It's totally worth it. Or should I say with a pinky like Dr. Evil, $1,000. LJ and I, we're waiting for your offers. Hit us up. We can't wait. But no, let's digress. World Cup is exciting. We're really been enjoying all that. But the one story I really want to get into with you, buddy, and one of the teams he mentioned was your Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Jake Paul. I sent you the message late last night after I agreed to come on the show. Jake Paul, I think he's, as the kids say, Delulu right now. He believed, and he's only saying he wants to play D1 college ball, which is not easy to make D1 ball, that he's just going to walk on a team. He thought at first he could just go right to the NFL, call up the Cowboys or the Cleveland Browns and say, I want to play football. Let's remember, besides being an influencer and a social media star on YouTube, millions of fans, a big fan, President Trump's a big fan of him as well. And so he talked about maybe running for politics one day. His main thing he's been doing lately, he's been a boxer, quote unquote, and pretty much fighting the geriatric community. He fought Mike Tyson and destroyed Mike Tyson. But remember, this is not Mike Tyson his peak. Mike Tyson as a 60-year-old man. So pretty much the running joke on all the late night comedy shows, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all those are saying that he only fights old people. So he's not fighting people in their prime. When he fought a real fighter last time, he got his jaw broken. And now he's like, I probably might be done with boxing. Let's try the NFL for a size. And he's just going to experiment with it. So he thinks he'll walk on a D1 team at Stanford. Not the greatest of casual teams, but still a D1 school that's still going to be lots of competition.
Yeah.
And then he wants to then sign with your Dallas Cowboys or potentially the Cleveland Browns who stink.
Hello.
Let's hear about your thoughts about that, because I'm very curious, buddy,
Michael Jordan.
about Jake Paul and any prospects. People thought Tim Tebow was crazy. Tim Tebow was at least a great football player. It was a little nuts a few years ago when he tried to convert to tight end. And Urban Meyer, which I sent you another story about this morning, about how he didn't know any of the players in the NFL. He didn't know who Aaron Donald was when they were facing the Rams. They got fired that same year, Jaguars coach. But at least Tim Tebow had football experience. What are your thoughts about Jake Paul thinking he's going to convert from social media influencer, failed boxer who got his jaw broken and only beats up geriatrics, like old man Mike Tyson, and now he's going to make the NFL? I'd love to. The floor is yours, buddy.
Yeah, I think ultimately, listen, I've been around the block long enough in the last 2+ decades to know that sometimes this stuff is real and sometimes this is, I'm trying to resurrect my career. I'm trying to.
You think he's just trying to get more clicks? Like he has millions of viewers and subscribers on YouTube. Is it just about his brand, not really about football?
I can't speak for him, and not knowing him personally, but I can say that there are moments where people say things that are a little off the wall or out of left field, and it's with the intent to put yourself out in front of the media. I mean, you think about it like this: the NFL news this morning is not Deshaun Watson, it's not which quarterback's going to do this and that, it's not Fernando Mendoza, it's not the Rams and Myles Garrett and the continuation of that conversation. And it's not Brendan Sorsby for a minute in the supplemental draft. It's a conversation about Jake Paul. So, I mean, he got what he wanted, and getting what he wanted in that respect is, if for nothing else, some people just like to have fame at any cost. And I'm not saying that this is Jake Paul, but I'm saying that being around long enough, I would not be surprised if we're living in a world where Jake says this and then it dissolves, it never comes to fruition, but it ultimately happened so that he could get back out there, he could get another fight, he could be the front runner of the media cycle. Because I mean, think about it, people are talking about it right now, and we're talking about it here in this moment. So I mean, I cover Stanford's in the ACC. I have gotten to know Stanford over these last few seasons. So, people on their coaching staff, their student athletes, a couple of their quarterbacks, their tight end, who's now in the NFL. So, I mean,
Stanford, well, buddy, also it's pretty much an Ivy League school. It's considered the Harvard of the West Coast. So I don't even know I don't know what his academic history is, but it's not. Never mind, athletically, Division I is hard to make. It's not a school you could just instantly get accepted by. You have to be a great student, be very intelligent, and I don't know these things about Jake Paul. I don't know if he actually can meet the qualifications. Stanford is pretty much an Ivy League school in California. It's not an easy school just to be accepted with a flick of your fingers like that. So that seems like a pretty lofty goal. And the idea that he's settling for college for like a year to try it out because he was told it's preposterous just to go right to your Dallas Cowboys. But in his mind, he would love just to get Jerry Jones on the phone and call him up and say, can I play for your team right now? And because I think he played at Jerry World in Dallas at the Cowboys Stadium last November against Mike Tyson. I think he fought in that match at the Cowboys Stadium. So he probably has Jerry Jones' number on speed dial. And he's like, I can just call him up and he'll let me on the team. So he was told by someone, that's a little crazy. So let me play like 1 year tryout college. So that also, his logic doesn't seem to be, the math is not math.
Well, I mean, you have to look at the program that he chose as well. I mean, Stanford is a program that did something really weird that I have never experienced in 22 plus years. And that was, last year at ACC kickoff, they introduced their coach and they say, hey, this is Frank Reich, and he's going to be our coach for this season. And that's it. He's our interim coach and he's going to be our coach for this year. I've never experienced going to any event or covering any team where they announced their new head coach who wasn't on staff as simply a placeholder. Like, this is our new head coach. He's had a lot of work in the NFL. He's had a lot of success. He's been a head coach in the NFL, and he's just here for a season. And
but remember the relationship, though, because Andrew Luck is somehow now colleges with all the NIL money have general managers. Andrew Luck, the former Colts quarterback who played for Frank Reich in Indianapolis, he's good friends with Frank Reich, played for him, and so it was a weird special relationship. So he kind of just had the inside track to borrow. Now he's the Jets offense coordinator, and the Jets are debacle, and who knows what Geno Smith's going to be in round 2 in New York. But I think it was a weird relationship because now Andrew Luck is running things at his alma mater at Stanford after retiring early from the NFL, and he kind of just gave his buddy a side job. So it was kind of a weird relationship that it was like, let him just fill the placement holder for a season, and then we'll move on and get a new coach.
Right. I mean, yeah, there's the relationship there, but it's still it's still weird. It's a weird occurrence to do something like that. And, I mean, I like talking with Frank. I really appreciated the fact that, here's this NFL head coach that happens to be in the ACC for a season at Stanford, and, getting to talk with him and picking his brain a little bit. So, I mean, it's maybe Jake Paul looks to Stanford because he already knows they've done these shock things, right? Andrew Luck bringing in Frank Reich, win, lose, or draw, it creates national media. And so maybe that's his thought of, if I go here, right, this is already a place that's done off the beaten path stuff, that's brought in somebody in on a short-term basis to, either help them to transition, but also maybe, help them to get some clicks and get some likes. I'm not that type of guy. I'm not the type of person, I'm not the type of broadcaster to do it for the clicks and do it for the retweets.
You do the hard work. You put your work in. But what I want to know is, it's one thing to hire your buddy to be the coach, which is weird enough, but how does he get accepted into Stanford, which has very high qualifications? I know there's no such thing as bad publicity, and you'd get the buzz and the clicks and ESPN. With all the channels, the streaming station, they'd all want him on. But how could you accept him when he probably doesn't qualify to go to the school, and he's like settling just for the heck of it? And then I just don't. And how could you then take Andrew Luck or the Stanford program or the school seriously if you actually accept the guy who is just a social media star and does nonsense for clicks and is not really a part of your school? Like, if they do this and just for publicity, you can understand it. But I couldn't take them seriously anymore. The school would lose credibility, the football program, and Andrew Luck as the general manager of this team, which is weird still for me to say that college football teams and sports as general managers in the NIL world. I can't take them seriously if they actually go down this road.
Yeah, I mean, if Stanford to do something like this,
it becomes pro wrestling. It becomes fake pro wrestling at that point.
Well, there's a selling of the soul when it comes to entertainment and money, and people have to be careful of that. I'm in a business where I don't fit the model, and I like that. I like the fact that, I was told a long time ago from Dominique Rhodes, who won a Super Bowl at running back with Peyton Manning on the Indianapolis Colts, and he said to me, I was standing outside of the Citrus Bowl, which is, now where Camping World Stadium is, and we were just talking. And I said to him, we built a good friendship. I said, dude, I don't get it. I was working on ESPN Radio 1080 The Team at the time in Orlando and living down there. And I said, I try to do everything right. I care about people. I tell the truth. I work hard. I don't understand why I feel like I'm doing it the right way. I feel like I'm putting everything into it the right way. And, I have this love. I have this passion. I refuse to cut corners. And I don't know why it's not working out. Or not working out at a pace where I see like people that don't do things maybe, in a positive way or a moral way. Why are they ahead? Like, what is going on? And I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, if you chase the money, and what did he say to me? He said, if you chase your passion, if you chase your dream, the money will chase you. if you chase the money, you'll chase the money forever. And so it was based, and he looked at me, he goes, you know, you're doing the right thing. So keep doing what you're doing and you're going to be all right. But he said, if I learned anything in my life, if you chase the dream, the money catches up with you. If you chase the money, then you're in that cycle for the rest of your life. And for some odd reason today, how my life works, I was listening to a song and the song said the same thing. The thing, you know, it said, chase your dream, chase your dream, not the money. And, you know, I'm surrounded by people that chase fame and clicks and money. And I don't live in that world. So, you know, it's differentiating who is and who's not and who I'm going to be around in that respect. But I feel very, you know, I mean, in this situation, I wouldn't be surprised if nothing happens, if, oh, I'm just kidding, and it doesn't come to fruition. But, you know, listen, there's teams that bring in people. I mean, look at what Syracuse did. And in Syracuse's case, in my opinion, it was a massive publicity stunt. They brought in a rapper, and they saw, oh, he's going to be on the team, and they did all these videos and, you know, or not videos, they put these pictures out, and it was one of the dumbest things. The rapper Tusi was allegedly coming to Syracuse and allegedly going to play wide receiver, and I didn't report on it. I didn't buy it. I thought it was a joke. I let it go for hours thinking that this was just some stupid publicity stunt, and ultimately, you know, he said something about Fran Brown. He doesn't end up coming to Syracuse. And I look back on that moment and I think to myself, Syracuse had a terrible football season after they lost their starting quarterback. And then they responded by putting this out. And my mentality was, if Fran thought that this was going to flip the media into his favor, it backfired because it looked like you came off a terrible season. You desperately tried to shock jock somebody, and
it was a distraction,
and it blew up,
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much it was to distract people.
And to me, I don't want to believe that was real. I don't want to believe that that was his intent, but I would suggest to not do anything like that again, because it ended up being a very laughable moment, which made Syracuse look like they care more. Again, they care more about the clicks and the publicity, good, bad, or indifferent. It looked like we had a terrible season. Let's do something stupid to get in the news, and then people will like us. And it didn't work.
Why don't you just work harder, recruiting better players, coaching up the guys you have? You have your quarterback coming back who had the bad injury early in the season, so hopefully he rights the ship a little bit. And I know the other side, the big school team at Syracuse basketball, Jerry McNamara is not doing that. He's busted his butt. He's recruited big. He got one of his star players from Siena to join him already. The sky's the limit. I'm not saying it's guaranteed success right away, but he is balls to the wall, getting Syracuse basketball ready to go. Fran Brown's got to do the same thing, because that great first season, that's going to go up in smoke and be forgotten about, and he'll be on the hot seat if he doesn't turn this thing around pretty quick. So don't worry about likes and clicks, because you're going to be sitting in the stands and cheering a team on or coaching somewhere else very soon if you don't right the ship. So I know GMAC, he has everything. He's squared or laser focused on what the mission at hand is. Fran Brown on the football side has to do the same thing in Syracuse.
Yeah, you know, and that I think, I mean, listen, you weed out the real from the fake, and you know, in any situation, some people say a lot of things that are catchy, and some people do the work. And
this story though was just too juicy when I saw it pop up last night. And they claim it was a real story. It wasn't bogus. I had to send it to you, and that's why I was glad that it's one of your top, the main topics of the day for us to kind of ruminate about, because it was very juicy, very interesting, but also ridiculous. So one of the first people I thought about was you, and then my crazy brother Carl. I'm like, I wonder what the two of you think about this crazy story right now, because when the news breaks and it's something kind of weird and controversial, I love to hear your take on it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and again, I mean, I shy away from all that stuff. I mean, when I was at the ACC kickoff last year, when I spoke about Frank Reich, you know, I was also talking with Bill Belichick, and I stayed away from all of the craziness. I stayed away from
the girlfriend stuff. The young girlfriend.
I stayed away from oh, there's a line of people outside and there's all these people here and there's all this stuff going. I just stayed away from it. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the bathroom early. I'm going to sit back down. I sit in the front row at all these press conferences. I try to ask questions to every coach, every player, and, prepare myself for that. And I was getting myself ready for, what I wanted to talk to Bill Belichick about. And I was sitting in the front row and they were telling me, oh, it's starting to pile up outside, and everybody started to come in. And then you turn, I'm in a room where there's like 30, 40 people most of the days. And then you turn around and look in the room and there's like 600 people and there's no breathing room hardly anywhere. And they're all dead silent, like we're about to hear Andrea Bocelli sing a song on stage in Italy.
They're that scared, probably.
So it was just, I was like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to go outside and see. I just don't want to see it. I'm not about it. Like, yes, I want to interview him. Yes, I want to, put this in my history that I got to speak with Bill Belichick. He's a multi-time Super Bowl champion and so on and so forth. But, I didn't want to be around all the other garbage and people falling over him, and desperately wanted to talk with him and take a picture with him and shake his hand, and maybe he breathes on me or he sweat on my arm or whatever. And
I feel boring. But now if you talk to him, like I know you've talked to lots of people, small, big in the sports industry, star athletes, Hall of Famers, I mean Floyd Littles of the world, who seem very humble, and a lot of great players. Do you get nervous when you're talking to them? And how do you, tune out the noise so you can just have a one-on-one conversation like me and you are having, like we're just equals, rather than put this guy on a pedestal because he's so amazing, this is all-time great, and you get nervous and it affects your question. I think viewers would be interested about that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's better than me, and I don't think I'm better than anybody else. So I don't get starstruck. I've had a moment interviewing the guy that created Darkwing Duck, Ted Stones, and I thought that moment I was fine talking with him, but I felt like I almost didn't breathe until I got off the air, and I was like, wow, because that was a childhood thing for me. But I don't. I lost track at 5,000 at this point. There might have been 5,500, 6,000 people on this show on Wake Up Call alone so far, and looking back on it, I've just always believed in my voice. I've believed in myself. Listen, I've been counted out a million times. I applied to over 90 places when I graduated from Marywood University. I heard back from one. It was a postcard saying, thanks, we're not looking for anybody right now, but we'll let you know if we are.
That sounds like my history. I would get the standard letter in the mail they type out and say, we'll keep you on file for like a year. Good luck in your future endeavors. We're not looking at this time where your qualifications don't link up with ours. Sorry, have a nice day. I got that letter at least 100 times, constantly. Sometimes I still get that letter after years of experience, but especially out of college, got that letter nonstop. But the main thing you got to think about is don't quit, and it just takes one person to take a chance on you and say yes, and then the ball's rolling, the door's open, you have to kick the door down so you can get a chance and keep getting opportunities. And don't take no for an answer when you go for your career and something you're passionate about, because there's so many people going to tell you your dream is crazy and that you have no chance to do this. But what you got to say is that you believe in yourself, you're good enough, you're talented enough, and I'm going to find every way possible to make this dream a reality.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. I think you have to love yourself, and that's a really big thing. You have to truly love yourself, and you have to listen. Everyone who's done anything of merit in life is crazy to somebody to a certain extent. When you create something that's never been created before, when you go to a place when I went to the internet radio and then eventually internet TV, this was a place that was considered a joke. It wasn't going to work out. People didn't know the word podcasting. They didn't take it seriously.
Look at all the podcasts now. Every celebrity, every comedian has a podcast now.
Right, and that's the weird thing. When I started broadcasting on the internet, and they call it a podcast, but to me a broadcast is a broadcast. Yeah. When I started doing it, there wasn't like, these are the microphones you buy, this is how you do it, this is the software to use, this is where to go. I was on Podbean. I'm still on Podbean. And when I was on Podbean, maybe there was 6,000 shows. Now there's like hundreds of thousands, and there's actors on there that have their network and all of these different things. And so the world we live in today, where kids want to do a podcast and they want to have a YouTube channel, and athletes are going to it and entertainers are going to it and whatnot. All of this did not exist. It was a place of people like myself trying to
Yeah.
build our name, try to build our brand that was not overpopulated, and it
Well, you
wasn't.
probably were told and was trying to be scared when you left like a big brand like ESPN to
Yeah.
then go to online radio, do your own thing, and do your own company.
Yeah.
People probably thought you were out of your mind to do that because you're
100%.
going from a powerhouse name brand like ESPN from the Disney Corporation to your own independent thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem so wild now, but at the time, it was a big risk and it seemed crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, if I've learned anything about my life, we all have to take risks. You calculate them as best you can, but if you care about something enough, you got to jump. And I never thought I would fail. I never thought, I don't think I failed myself once chasing after this. I have learned, I have grown, I have realized where I could be better or do better, but I have never once failed myself, and I don't think I've failed any of my clients, and I don't believe I failed anybody that I've talked to and interviewed. I mean, I've posted my videos with Steve Angeli, the quarterback of Syracuse, coming off an injury, and after we did all of that, I saw him in the hallway. And what I pride myself on, and I value so much more than the interview, is the relationship. And people show up in the media and they interview these players, and the players know it's transactional. So they ask people ask the questions, the players give the answers, and that's it. And they don't shake hands and they don't talk to you on the side, and they go about their day, you go about your day. Well, I have relationships with the players. I care about these people. They know that. I'm very transparent about that, win, lose, or draw. So after the interview, David Clement, tight end for the team, was standing in front of all the media, and he looked at me and he paused. And I put my hand out. It was almost like, are we going to talk? And I put my hand out and I shook his hand and I was like, how you been? Because I knew him when he was going through high school at CBA Albany and before he, officially came to Syracuse. And then Steve Angeli was out in the hallway, and I said, hey, man, I said, how you been? And he's like, good to see you, big smile on his face. And he gave me a hug, and he was like, always good to see you. And I said, you too. I said, I'm happy that you're doing well. He's like, thanks, man. But it's those relationships that are built from last year interviewing Steve. I'm a stranger. He doesn't know me. And we walked out of the facility together, and I just talked to him on the walk, and we laughed, and we talked about some things serious, and we had a good conversation. But what people have to understand is there's a consistency. And when I care about somebody, I care about something, you have to be consistent. That's one of the things that people forget to talk about. They talk about passion, they talk about drive, they might talk about having the money to start this or that or whatever, but they don't talk about the consistency. I got to get up I do over 250 shows a year in the morning. Plus I do on-site shows. So in any given year, I'm doing 300 broadcasts for Wake Up Call, not including Superpowered Pop, Do Diz with Dan, Comic Book Trails, anything else. I'm doing 300 broadcasts. And I
there's
have
probably
to be
certain
on it
days
all
you
time.
wake up feeling like garbage or don't feel like doing it.
100%.
And you still have to bust your butt, get up, and take the mic, and still put on a good show for your audience for at least 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes more, especially with show preparation, interviews, and like you said, on-site remotes with the high school and college players and coaches. So there are definitely times you have to go up there not feeling your best, maybe being sick. Who knows what people is going on in people's lives, family stuff, drama with the relationship. It all is there. We just don't see it. We just see the finished product, a solid, polished show. But you have to still bust your butt and go through every day, whether you feel like it or not. You have to put on a brave face and put on a good show.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate the recognition of that. I mean, listen, I have come on to this show at times in my life where I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to focus on anything. I wanted to cry. There have been countless times where I've been sick, and I go through a sinus infection, and here I got to be on the show. I remember one time when I was on ESPN in Scranton, Pennsylvania, when I started my career with ESPN right out of college, well, a few months out of college, and I remember being on the air one day, and I was driving to, and I only lived like a few minutes from the station, but I was driving to the station, and my throat was killing me, and I could feel, and I was like, I got to drink water, I have to have lozenges, like I could feel I was in pain, and I got on the show and I turned it on, and I went in the studio and I just prayed to God. I was like, God, give me the strength. You know that I love this. I got to do it. I don't want to sound bad even though I'm sick. I don't want people to hear that in me. And I did the show for over an hour, or I did the show for, I don't know what it was. I think it was like an hour or two. And doing the broadcast, it was amazing. And this is something that's not atypical with me. I did the broadcast. I felt no pain. I felt totally fine. Then I finished and the soreness in my throat came back. And it was like, I'm so passionate and so driven of what I do that, like, I mind over matter, just like took my, like, focused my pain away throughout the show. And then it came, and then I said, okay, now I'll go home and I'll go to sleep. And, I went home and I went to bed. But I can't tell, dude, I was coming off of COVID and praying to God I was going to test negative back in 2021. I want to say it was. I was supposed to go to New York City, and I was covering the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden, and I was covering the ACC tournament at Barclays. So I didn't have one thing, I had two. And I had to get out there, and I hadn't been to the Big East in a bunch of years. And, the ACC is not in Brooklyn every year. So I wanted to go. It was like, when is this ever going to happen again where I can cover two of my conferences in the same place without having to travel from one state to another state? And I was coming off of being sick, and I was tired, but I tested negative, thank God, like the day before I was supposed to leave. Got on a plane and I left. And there was one day I woke up in New York City. I was in Brooklyn, and I could barely walk. Like, I could barely move, and I slept that day. And then there were other days where I was sweating, through my suit, getting off of the subway, walking around the streets of Brooklyn, just sweating in a way that was like just uncomfortable. But I found a way to do it. You know what I mean? And if that says anything about my drive and my dedication, I mean, there it is. So, I think we learn in life, what we care about and what we don't. And I just taught this to a class at CNS. I said, I want you to take something with you that God put inside of me and put in my heart and in my mind to share. And it was at Johnson College years ago when I got asked to speak in Scranton, PA.
Oh, right. Dixon City in Scranton.
Yeah. I got asked to speak on entrepreneurship and business. And I said to the class that was filled with people of all different ages in college, I said, if you don't remember anything else I say, remember this. You will find out very quickly in life if you love something or if you think you love it. Because if you love it, you will get punched in the mouth, 600 times, and you'll get up and you'll keep going. If you love it, you'll deal with when you don't have the money. You'll deal with when you don't know the answer. You'll deal with when people tell you that you can't. You will handle everything if you love it, because nothing's going to stop you. If you think you love it, but you really don't, you'll get knocked on the ground once or twice and you'll stay there. And that was something that I learned in my life. I only go after what I love. I go after what I care about. I go after what matters to me. And if I think I care about it, I think I love it, I think it matters to me, then it's not going to work out. But if it really truly is something that I value, then I will do everything in my power. And that's why I've never failed in my business, because I don't know if anybody thought I could do this besides me and God, but here we are. And we're about to turn 14 years old in less than a month.
It's an impressive run. And I was curious I figured, knowing you and the way you just like to have conversations, honest conversations, it must be a thrill when you get a chance to speak to kids and young up-and-coming broadcasters. I know you recently did that at a school, and you got to teach a class. I think that's probably one of your favorite things. Like, you still want to do the broadcasting thing, absolutely, but I think if you got to be like a guest time speaker or lecturer or teacher, like a Matthew McConaughey, all right, at the University of Texas Longhorns, I think you do very well keeping that in mind, whether it be full time or a part time job. Just be a guest speaker or a part time communications teacher. I think you would do very well connecting with the young kids, high school and college age, and really putting them in the right direction and keeping their spirits alive when they might be down in the dumps thinking this is a very hard industry to break in and make a name for themselves without having to sell their soul to the devil, to actually do it the right way and not just for the clicks and the likes. So I think that's something that I think you would really enjoy, and hopefully you get more opportunities to speak to the youth of today and the future broadcasters of the world.
No, and again, I appreciate that. I mean, I have to thank Tracy Lieberman. She's the one that made it happen. Ari, her husband, and the AD at Liverpool. I met Ari first, and Ari said to me, hey, my wife. I think he said like, oh, my wife might want to talk to you about, this teaching thing, and she came up to me at an event over a year ago, and she was like, hey, I'm glad I finally got to see you. I had meant to call you. Would you ever be interested in teaching a class? And talking about podcasting, talking about what you do. And I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. And then we didn't. And eventually, I think I might have reached out and said like, hey, is this still something or something like that? And last year, she set it up with the high school, and I came and spoke with 3 of her classes. And then this year we set it up with the junior high and the high school, and one of the classes that gets college credit at Syracuse through Syracuse University. So, I mean, we made history. According to Tracy, nobody in my profession has ever come and taught a class and implemented something and then had them broadcast a show. That's never happened in Central and Upstate New York, never at a high school level, never at a junior high level. And she let me create the criteria. Like when she said, you're going to teach, she said, this is my class, you're the teacher. You're creating the lesson plan, send it over to me. I'm trusting you with all of it. You do what you want to do. And yeah, I mean, I did realize that I have a passion for it. She tells me all the time I'd be a really good teacher. I tell her that I get kicked out of schools because there's things that kids do now that I just don't understand. But I mean, being able to teach somebody, what I've learned. I mean, who
Yeah.
are we? Who are we in this world if we don't leave a legacy through teaching other people?
Well, for the next generation,
For,
like that's
yeah.
why I love sports writing. I love sports broadcast. I love coaching though, because I love to the next group of kids, the next generation, for to pay it forward. Because one day, that's really all you have is a legacy. People will maybe remember the good things that they felt when they were around you and what you did, but to then leave that legacy so you can kind of live on forever in a way. It's a way to be like immortal. Is with what you were passionate about. In this case, it's sports. That I could teach kids to play the right way, play baseball the right way, and then they'll take that play, hopefully have good careers, and then maybe teach their kids, and then that will teach those kids will teach their kids, and it will go on so far and so forth. And in a way, that way you get to live on forever in a positive way, and you keep teaching the generations to come to do things the right way, and that's a way that sometimes it's it's scary as I get closer to my 40th birthday in October. I think about legacy. I think about mortality more than I ever did before, which is scary to think about when you're like, oh, half of your life could be over. So you want to think of ways you could possibly affect the future of tomorrow and the next group of kids, the next generation, and how you can kind of live forever in a way, in a positive way, not to weigh people down with all your crazy baggage as you get older. You want to be able to pay it forward, and that's very important. I mean, that's why with you it'd be teaching, for me it'd be coaching. I like to always find a way. So whether I'm coaching in college or high school or just helping out my kids, I just finished a coach pitch season with my son with the Back Mountain Dodgers. I've been coaching with my kids for the last 6 years. I love that, even with the young kids, and teach them the basics and the fundamentals, because it's a blank canvas and you get to work with these kids and you see their progression by first game, first practice to the end of the season, and it's off the charts how much it starts to click. And then you're almost just sad the season's over because it finally clicked and now the season's over. And then you're excited for the next year to get again a blank canvas or a canvas that's getting better. Sometimes you get the same kids every year, some are different, and then you get to build them up again for the next season. And I love that challenge, and I think that's the ultimate, to have a lasting legacy, to pay it forward to the next generation, whether it's through teaching, coaching. In many ways, coaching is teaching, teaching is coaching. So they are, back and forth and very similar, the endeavor and the goal that you're trying to achieve there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely, and I love, what you've been able to do in your life, and how you've been able to, put all this together, because I think it's really incredible, the work that you have done to, be a father, to be a broadcaster, to be a journalist, to write for as many years as you've written for, to work with the local colleges and be there at those games and, with Penn State, Scranton and all of that. And then on top of everything that you've done to then be a coach and to coach at a collegiate level, to coach with your kids as well. I mean, I told you a long time ago, and I got a feeling I know what you're going to say, but I told you a long time ago when you were going through this and you wanted to be in the sports world, you wanted to, follow that passion that you have because you and I, align on that. And then you also wanted to be a husband and a father. And I told you it was all going to happen. I said, I have every faith in your passion that it's going to happen. And I have every belief. And there were moments where you're like, I'm never going to find her. I'm never going to be a dad. I'm never going to have this life. I want it. Maybe I just have to accept it's never going to happen. And now we're sitting here. We are having these conversations in 2008. Here we are sitting here 18 years later. And in 2026, you have been a coach at the collegiate level. You've been a coach, with kids. You have written for the paper. You have covered games and doing stats and whatnot. You have broadcasted and interviewed coaches and players. And on top of all of those things that you've gotten to do, you have become a father of two and obviously a husband. And so every single thing that seemed out of reach seemed impossible. And sometimes you and I would have deep discussions of whether or not it's going to happen. I hope people watching and listening today can know that even when it's impossible, even when you don't know how you're going to thread the needle, even when there is nothing in sight that makes you believe it's going to work out, the faith, the hope, the love, and surrounding yourself with people that truly believe in you. I'm not surprised that anything has happened, but I look at your life and say, you got it all. You've gotten to live in the sports world, coach in the sports world, broadcast and write in the sports world. And then above everything else, the most important thing to you is being a father and a husband.
That's
And you
my
have achieved
favorite
that.
job, especially in the summer. I joke sometimes I'm tired, overwhelmed when I'm working. I'm doing covering sports, and I love doing that. Doing and do the show with you, buddy, when I get a chance. But my favorite job is in the summer. It's like daddy daycare. We get to come up with ideas and things we're gonna do for the day. We're gonna go on a fun adventure. We're gonna go swimming today. Taking them after the show. We're gonna go swimming. Yesterday we went to Nova Trampoline Park. We went jumping. We go to Chuck E. Cheese. We go bowling. Go to the movies. We go probably go see Supergirl on Friday. You can see Lobo in action and Crypto for life. Our puppy looks like Crypto. We'd love to sneak him into the movie, and we're gonna do fun things. So we know that we're constantly thinking of things to do, and we just celebrated Father's Day. Was my ninth Father's Day, because my daughter was born a month after Father's Day in 2017. So next year will be my 10th Father's Day, but I don't take it for granted because that's my favorite job in the world. If all the other jobs went away, I'd be sad, but I'd be able to live with that. The one job that I want to constantly do and improve on and get better at is being a good father because I didn't have a good father growing up. So I want to again pave the way and pay it forward to the next generation. So my kids are good, hopefully mothers and fathers one day when if they get that opportunity. I want to be a good parent and a good father. So that's the most important job. That's the only job that I really care about. The other ones I enjoy. I'm passionate about, but the one that I'm fully passionate about and fully invested in is being a good parent and making sure my kids grow up to be good kids and not the jerks that you not see online and the social media influencers that get like 500 million views and followers and subscribers. The like and subscribe culture. I want to make sure that my kids grow up to be good people, and then maybe one day they'll have good people they make of their own
Well,
and good lives.
yeah, and I know that just like anything else I believed in you, I know you will achieve that. I know God is great. And I know that He's watched over you and everything that you've done. And, I would say, on top of what you just said, of, you didn't have a good dad growing up. Your father wasn't around. He left. I mean, how did you learn to be the great dad you are, not having the example? Because some people say, oh, well, I am what I see, I am what I experience, and I'm just going to repeat the pattern. Some people live in that world of, I'm just going to do whatever was done to me. And to me, like it's an excuse. I mean, I'm not the same as my father. So how did you learn how to be the dad you are, not having the dad you wanted?
Just watch it. I'd see other good parents and be very envious and jealous of how good their dads and parents and moms were to them. when they would go to sporting events and cheer them up and support them when they were going through a sad time. If they struck out 5 times in a game, how they would try to lift their spirits up. And then I'd see the negative side between my fathers and the crazy little league parent who father would yell and scream at the coach or the umpire or their kid's face and think that their kid's amazing even if they're struggling and make them feel awful when they have a bad game. And then they're willing to like fight umpires and coaches like you didn't let them play enough, or that's a ball, that's a strike, that's an alley, that's safe. Like I'd see the negative side from my life personally, and then from other people. I'm a very good watcher, very good observer of people, and then I'd see the good stuff. And then sometimes watching growing up as a kid, my mom used to call it a latchkey kid. That a lot of times they'd be busy working, my mom and stepdad, and growing up in New York, my brother and I, older brother and I, we'd either be outside at the park playing all day until the street lights came on. You had to come back for dinner time and peel off like the snake skin. You'd get so sunburned you'd rip off the skin, which was gross and fun at the same time. And we'd play sports all day long in the summer. But also then when we weren't, we were watching shows. And yes, he turned out to be allegedly disgusted human being, but we'd watch The Cosby Show. And then crazy shows like Married with Children with Al Bundy. And we'd watch all these shows with some like good role model for fathers, at least in the TV, fake fictional world. And I'd look at parents like that, and I'd be like, that's the kind of dad I'd want to be if I became a dad. So it's observing people in real life, in my bad experiences with fathers, observing other people with fathers, and want to role model myself after the good ones that I saw, and then the bad ones I saw as well, and pretty much say do the complete opposite of what the bad ones are doing, and then watching just simple TV shows, watching their art form, and even like I said, some of it's difficult because now some of these people turn out to maybe do bad things in real life, but I enjoyed the show, and I'm like, oh, that's a good dad. He's there for them all the time. Even if he's busy, he can be a doctor, a lawyer, he has a million things to do. But he's there at their ballet recitals. He's there at their sporting events. He's there at their baseball game. He's there whenever they need them. When they need a ride home because they were drinking with their friends, which they shouldn't have been doing. He might have to yell at them later, but he's there. You can rely on. He'll pick you up at 2 o'clock in the morning. You can call him. He will come and get you. He might lecture you. You might be grounded for a while, but he will be there as a good dad and make sure you got home safe and you learn the difference between right and wrong. And that's pretty much observing from me, my personal life and others, and then watching those father figures on TV, the Danny Tanner, Bob Saget's of the world on Full House, which my kids now watch, so I get to relive it through their eyes. And what was the other one? Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Those types of dads. Those were the dads I wanted to be, and I wanted to do the complete opposite of the bad dads that you would see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you again. The impossible has been done. And I know you always give me a lot of credit for stuff, but I mean, I tell people all the time, you don't have to be like your parents. How do I know? My buddy Ross. You
could break the cycle. You don't have to continue the cycle. It might be difficult, but you know the difference between right and wrong. You can break that cycle and make it better for your kids so they don't have to deal with that baggage. And then they, in their lives and their jobs and their families, and if they have kids, they don't bring that baggage. And then their kids don't bring that same baggage because it's a vicious cycle. It will keep going for generation after generation. Their kids and those kids and their kids' kids, they will continue to bring that baggage if you don't break the cycle. You have to break the cycle of negativity and just, doing bad things and make it a positive one.
Yeah. And you're an example of that. You're also an example that you can do it all, right? You can be a husband, you can be a father, and you can be a friend, you can be a brother, and at the same time, you can get everything done that you need to get done and achieve your dreams and, be 10 people in one and keep smiling. I tell people all the time, we're never too busy for the ones we care about. And how do I know that? I always talk about you. I said, it's a weird day in the world where I don't get one message from Ross. I said, I usually get at least one message a day, every day. And I have other acquaintances, I'm not even going to call them friends, but I have acquaintances that, oh, I have kids. Oh, I have a job. Oh, I this. Oh, I that. I don't have 2 seconds to say hello. And I always laugh when I hear that because I know how busy I am and I know how busy you are. And I know that you always make time. And it could be 3 o'clock in the morning. It could be noon. It could be, 8 a.m. It could be 8 p.m. But you always find time. And if I've learned anything about this world, you hope to be special to people. You hope to have genuine connections because we were never meant to be separated. And so that's what I do. I mean, that's what I built my company on. The businesses that work with me, a lot of those businesses are total strangers, but then those business owners become friends. And these student athletes, these coaches, these professional athletes, these administrators, they're all strangers, and then they become friends. And I pride myself on that I, have built very close, beautiful bonds with people that used to just be strangers. And in my business, in my line of work, some people find businesses to sponsor them, and there's no relationship beyond money. They find student athletes, coaches, professional athletes to talk to, and there's no bond behind, beyond give me the content that I need. I don't have that. I have the talking with these people in the middle of the night, getting a text message from a coach during a college football playoff practice, and having these long conversations, seeing Jeff Monken of Army have the Gatorade thrown on him, and then a half an hour later he's texting me thanking me for the congratulations. There's these relationships, and that's what people don't understand. You go where you're appreciated, and eventually, I will knock down walls and do what I can, but you go where you're appreciated. You work with people that value you. You surround yourself with people that value you. And I was taught a long time ago, I can love or dislike what somebody says and does, but I choose who I sleep next to. I choose who I eat with. I choose who I talk with on the phone, who I text. There's certain things that I can't choose who's on press row next to me. I can't choose who's on a plane next to me. I can't choose who's in the classroom with me, but I can choose who I'm laying next to, who I'm spending my time with. And I just feel very fortunate that in the life I've attempted to lead, it's worked. And I give credit to God for that, because I don't deserve that credit, but I do work hard, and I know you do too. And I just am very grateful for somebody like you, because you are one of the places that has always been a beautiful safety net of if I ever forgot who I was, if I ever went through a tough time, if I was ever having a moment, you've always been more than a friend, really a brother, to remind me my worth. And if you can find people in your life that see your value, even when you struggle to see it, you've really found something special.
And I love that, and I treasure those relationships, and so it's very important. As you become an adult and get older, it's sometimes hard to find that. So you got to treasure that, and you got to keep keep that in perspective. That you cherish those moments, and when I again to speak of relationships, when I hear any story, I want to hear your take on it. So last night I sent you about Giannis got traded to Miami Heat, not the Celtics. I want to hear your take on it. I still want to hear your take on it. I can't wait to hear that. We were talking about, I see up there one of your talks, NBA going on Vegas. I've heard there's probably going to be two NBA teams in 2029. Vegas is going to probably get one. The Vegas Golden Knights that just lost the Stanley Cup Finals to the Carolina Hurricanes last week. Their owner probably wants the Vegas team to play in their arena. The hockey and basketball team will share it. And Seattle, at long last, looks like they're going to finally get their Supersonics back, maybe as early as 2029, 3 years. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they kind of came in. It seemed like the owner kind of tricked Seattle, making it seem like, oh, I'm going to keep them there. So Kevin Durant, first year in 2008, he played in the Seattle Supersonics. And then they ended up just going to Oklahoma City the next year. But all the stuff, all the Sonic stuff is in Seattle. So I'm excited the idea that Seattle, big market, who won a championship back in 1979 with Lenny Wilkins, and then lost the NBA Finals with Sean Kemp and the glove, Gary Payton, and the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan in '96. I'm glad the Sonics are back, or should be back, and Vegas looks like they're going to get a team, have all the major teams, because the Athletics and baseball are going there. The Raiders are there. All the teams are moving there. Vegas has hockey now. So I'm very curious. When we talk about relationships, that's the coolest thing, because I love the personal relationships. I love chatting with you, and then anytime there's a story break, I want to hear your thoughts. So I know one of the things I definitely wanted to hear is, speaking of relationship that soured, Giannis. Did you think he was going to finally leave Milwaukee? And how did Pat Riley find a way to get his big fish again? He got LeBron back in the day, he got Jimmy Butler back in the day, he got Shaq back in the day. How does Pat Riley, is he that persuasive in the room? Would he convince you to pretty much to do whatever he wanted? He seems like he has mind control, because he got the Greek freak Giannis to come join him in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Giannis saga, and I've had I had the conversation with
Yeah, I
Dave.
made it that way because I did. We
Yeah.
told a relationship. I'm like, let's get into Giannis because I want to hear your thoughts on Giannis. I'm like, let's talk about that relationship because I'm curious about how the divorce between him and Milwaukee came to be.
Yeah, I mean Giannis, and I just had this conversation with Dave Paziak, longtime basketball head coach, continues to be a basketball head coach and an analyst, and I said to him, what do you think? Giannis's name comes up all the time. Is it just because it's Giannis and we always hear the superstar names every offseason, or is this a real thing? And ended up being real. Giannis Antetokounmpo, as well as Bobby Portis of the Milwaukee Bucks, are heading to the Miami Heat for Tyler Hero, Kel'el Ware, as well as Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kasparis Jekusionis, and 3 first-round picks, including
it's
the
tough
number.
to say some of those names.
Listen, I will tell you this. Back in the day when I started broadcasting, there was 2 difficult names in the country. To the parents out there, I love that you're coming up with unique names. Stop doing that. So the names that I have to. Okay, so there's a guy on Syracuse, and I hope he doesn't mind that because he knows that he told me when we first did an interview. He said, my name is Olomowade Milade. That's his first name, Olomowade Milade. And his last name is Amapariola. He said, well, my middle name's David, so just call me David. I said, no, I'm going to call you by your name, Olomowade Milade. So I just spoke with him recently in spring ball, and we were talking about it, but he tells everybody he's David, and he's known as David. And I feel bad in those situations because I'm like, you're not going by your real first name because maybe you think that people won't say it right. So I joke about this stuff because there are a lot of difficult names to say. And what I've seen historically in my broadcasting career is I used to have to look up 2-3 names a year. Now it's maybe 2-3 every other day. So, there's 3 first-round picks, to get back to it, that are also going to the Bucks.
Isn't there a second-round pick like in 2033 or 2032, in the distant future?
Yeah, so they have a first-round pick tonight, number 13. Yeah. So not only do they have a first-round pick going from the Heat to the Bucks, but the Bucks are going to
pick... NBA draft. I don't know because that snuck up on me. I know my Knicks finally broke their 53-year title drought, and I didn't even realize it's 2 nights this year. But the first round of the NBA draft starts tonight, which I totally blew me away. That snuck up on me. I was focused more on the Knicks celebration and the parade, and then we got a draft tonight for basketball.
Yeah, so I mean, in the draft, this is how it always goes, and it's weird, but because the NBA ends so late, their draft feels like it's legitimately 3 days later, which
it's pretty much the next week.
Yeah, it's like a week after.
Later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have the number 13 pick. So not only do the Bucks get a pick in this year's NBA draft, but they get a lottery pick as they are in the top 14. So they get a lottery pick player, plus they're gaining the 4 players I mentioned, and they get 1 pick swap and 1 second-round pick. The Heat are sending to Milwaukee unprotected first-rounders in 2031 and 2033, along with number 13, a pick swap in 2030, and a 2023 second-rounder. So you have to think about this. There are 3 first-round picks going to the Bucks, plus a pick swap in 2030 and a 2033 second-rounder. So there's 5 picks overall, plus 4 players for Giannis and for Bobby Portis. Now, the trade does not include any additional teams. It's a 1-to-1 move, but both the Heat and the Bucks will execute the deal officially on Lily's birthday, July 6th, which leaves the framework open to see whether there's opportunities to expand. Last June, the Phoenix Suns and Houston Rockets agreed to a deal that ultimately increased to a historic 7-team trade. The Heat president, Pat Riley, now makes his long-anticipated landmark acquisition with Antetokounmpo joining elite pickups under Pat Riley, like you mentioned, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Bosh, Alonzo Mourning, and Jimmy Butler over the past 30-plus years. He will pair
Giannis try to force his brothers on the team like he did in Milwaukee? That was always the weird thing people would tease about. He has 4 brothers, but 2 of them, they're mediocre basketball players. They're not what he is. He's a Hall of Famer, generational talent, Giannis. He would get them jobs as backups who would sit on the bench, only played in blowouts on the Milwaukee Bucks. Does he have that sway, or would Pat Riley say, not going to happen? I'm not signing your mediocre brothers. Because I wonder, does he have the nerve to go up to a legendary figure like Pat Riley and say, "You have to take my brothers if you want me"? I don't know if he's going to pull that off. Maybe against a weaker GM, president of basketball operations, but I think Pat Riley would probably veto that in a moment.
Yeah, no, and I think, I mean, LeBron getting his son, there is some nepotism that happens.
And Bronny does okay, but Bronny does not really belong in the NBA. It's because of the dad. Let's be honest. If LeBron decides to retire tomorrow or next year, Bronny's probably not playing in the NBA. He's at best a G League player or plays overseas. He's not an NBA player. That's the
right.
He's there. Yeah.
And I would never want that. I would never want,
because unless he's delusional, he's got to know that he's only there because of nepotism, that he didn't earn his spot. Unless he's delusional. He might be delusional and think he earned it. I don't think he's earned his spot.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. And I would never want that. I would never want, like, oh, I'm here because daddy got me here. Like, I would never want that for myself. I don't live in that world. I'm a person that, prides myself on being a self-made man, and that's really important to me. So, I think that is something that, yeah, I mean, obviously people help open doors for you, but you never want to be like, hey, am I here for any other reason than my dad or my mom knows you? And if the person said no, then I'd feel really weird about keeping that job. So, but the pairing that we now have with Giannis Antetokounmpo with Bam Adebayo was the 2021 Finals MVP, Bam Adebayo joins the 2021 Finals MVP and two-time NBA MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Bam is coming
Bam just passed Kobe Bryant. Some people made fun of it because like half the points were free throws. But this year it was against the crappy Washington Wizards. What did he end up with? Like 83 points to pass Kobe's second best of all time 81-point game 20 years ago in 2006. The late great Kobe Bryant. Still, no one's getting to Will Chamberlain's 100 points against my Knicks in 62 in Hershey, Pennsylvania. But Bam somehow scored, I think, 83 points in a game this year. But a lot of people were teasing him that the Heat were mediocre, so it was Bam and a bunch of like random parts. So I still think even with Giannis, they're improved. Him and Bam could be a dynamic duo, but they need more pieces to go with it, more role players. But a lot of people were poo-pooing Bam's spectacle scoring more points than Kobe Bryant because it was mostly free throw shots. But it should be an interesting duo. But what pieces do they put around it? So, Spoelstra, the great coach of the Miami Heat, Pat Riley, can build a championship team again. They've done it before there. What other pieces? Because they need more than Giannis and Bam. They need more. So Spoelstra and Riley need to put their heads together and figure out what pieces on the side and periphery, three-point shooters, inside posts, guards, point guards, what else do they need? I think Andrew Wiggins is on the team. There's a few pieces, but there's a lot of just mediocre parts and then two star players. I'm curious how that will mesh together, and can anyone still compete with the defending champion Knicks in the East? And then the Pacers are going to get Tyrese Halliburton back from injury with his torn Achilles. So the Pacers should be better this year after going to Game 7 of the Finals last year against the Thunder. And then the Celtics will have Jason Tatum healthy for the whole year. So that will be big because he came back late in the year and they ended up falling apart, blowing a 3-1 lead against the Sixers. Can the Sixers be better? But the other thing you have to think about the Celtics. Now this is the second time in 4 years they've pissed off their dynamic duo with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They tried to trade Jaylen Brown a few years ago to get a star player, and they failed to do it. Now they try to trade for Giannis, and we're willing to give up Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown and his whole team know that they try to trade him again, and they try to disrespect him. Remember, he was the NBA Finals MVP, not Jason Tatum, who's the bigger star 2 years ago when they beat Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Does Jaylen Brown now try to let's see how the dominoes fall, because now Jaylen Brown might be angry and pissed off and say, I want out of Boston. Where does he go? Because he knows that they've tried to trade for him again to get the grass is green on the other side. They've tried to get Giannis. We're willing to dump Jaylen Brown. Now Jaylen Brown might not want to stay in Boston. You're going to have to repair that relationship, or they're going to go to a divorce, him and Jason Tatum, just like Giannis and the Bucks. So I'm curious what the next piece is going to be, but maybe I have to look out to see where Jaylen Brown ends up, because I don't know if he's going to want to return to Boston knowing that they wanted to deal him again.
Yeah, and I think...
Speaking of relationships, again, another relationship that's a rocky road. Can they smooth it, or is it headed for divorce?
Right. I mean, and that's what it comes down to, is when you are making these decisions. And, if I'm on the Milwaukee Bucks right now, do I want to stay committed? do I want to be on this team? Knowing that we brought in a lot of youth, we might not make the playoffs and we're just trying to figure things out. Miami barely made it. They made it in the play-in part as the number 10 seed in the 2025-26 NBA playoffs. They had a record of 43-39 on the season, so they did have a winning record, but they were at the bottom of the barrel, the last team in. And ironically, the team that they were in above, the Milwaukee Bucks, and who were 32-50, but the closest to them in the standings in the East, even though the records were far apart. So, I mean, what are they going to build around what they have? That's going to be a big question mark. Bam Adebayo is under contract through 2028-29, where he has a player option. And then we're looking at, Tyler Hero comes on. He's under contract for this upcoming season, but then he'll become a free agent. Andrew Wiggins, who's on the team, has a player option this year. Norman Powell is a free agent. Davion Mitchell has this upcoming season. Simone Fontecchio is a free agent. And then, you look at Nikola, he has under contract for the longest amount of time until 2029-30. And then Ware that they just brought on, he has a team option for the next couple of years. Jaquez Jr., who they brought on, has a team option for this upcoming season. And then Kasparis is under contract, but then team option for the next 2 years. Drew Smith is under contract, but then a team option. Kashard Johnson's a free agent. Pele Larson has a team option. And then Gardner is under contract for the next couple of years. Young, Keels, Golden, they are all, let's see what happens. So, I mean, these are non-household names. Besides Bam Adebayo and maybe a Norman Powell who played for the Raptors, and
Tyler Hero, who you mentioned, he's actually, as of now, in the Bucks trade. He's going back to Milwaukee, and he's a native of Wisconsin, so he's going a hometown hero. So they're losing him, and he's a pretty good shooter. They're going to lose him. So there's a lot of pieces, but I don't know if they're any good besides Giannis and Bam and maybe Andrew Wiggins. They're going to need help. So they're going to need to convince people to come there, and maybe that'll be an attractive spot. Pat Riley is a great motivator as a coach, but he's also a great persuasive person as a GM president of basketball operations. So let's see, who does he convince? One rumor that'd be interested, would they try to bring back LeBron James? LeBron could be a free agent. A lot of people think he'll go back to the Lakers, but he apparently has gotten annoyed with the Lakers, doesn't think they respect him as much, that it's pretty much become Luka Doncic's team because he's the young star, and LeBron's almost on his way out. He's about to be 42 at the end of this year. Could LeBron come back to Miami and in a supporting role be good to make a three-way, like a triumvirate with him, Giannis, and Bam? That could be interesting. I don't know if that's a possibility, but that would be kind of be intriguing. Would Pat Riley try to go back to the LeBron well one more time? He's an older player now, and maybe if LeBron's back as a role player and knows it's Giannis's team and Bam as a third option, that could actually be an interesting option if you could bring him back as more of a role player. LeBron could be very good as a role player even now in his 40s. If he's not, as long as he can put his ego past him and aside, because he's probably not a number one A player now unless you're on a bad team. LeBron as a role player on a good team could possibly have a chance to win a championship again if that's what he wants, to win one more ring. If he wants to be the star of the team, they're not going to be a very good team. He has to accept his role now as an older player.
Yeah, and giving you Miami's roster, that's the current roster before the pending trade we're talking about for July 6th. But the roster, if the trade goes through for Miami, they will have Bam Adebayo, Giannis Antetokounmpo. So you got a center in Bam, you got a forward in Giannis, and then Fontecchio, you have a forward, and then Myron Gardner, you have a forward, and then Golden is at center, Kashard Johnson forward, Jovic is going to be at the forward position. And then
where are the guards?
Here's the thing.
Yeah. Smaller ball handlers and shooters.
Yeah, I mean, Keels, Larson, Mitchell, those are all guards. Powell a guard, Drew Smith a guard, Young a guard. Again, none of these are household names.
These are not
is coming on the team in Wiggins. Yeah. So I would imagine that Miami is going to have to find some guard play, backcourt play, shooting guard, point guard, maybe a small forward in their offseason now to try and build around this. Giannis doesn't come to a Miami team to just hang around and have fun. He wants to win a championship. Milwaukee didn't have a good season, so he knows what it's like to win in Milwaukee. He knows what it's like to win with the unlikely. Now he's going to a bigger city and he's obviously more fanfare. So the hope is...
I looked it up. It's 13 years he's played for the Milwaukee Bucks. So he's going to year number 14.
Yeah.
He's 31. He'll be 32 this December. He's not a kid. So he's not going to be on a rebuild team. He wants a team that's ready to go to compete for a championship right now. I know he won the one in Milwaukee. He wants to compete for championships. He's not going to waste his time with a 20-win a crappy young basketball team. So it's not like you could just rebuild and tear down and have 5 years wait until you can contend. He wants to contend now. So Pat Riley, as an older guy as well, probably wants to contend right now. He's not going to wait around. So, it doesn't mean it has to be instant, but this is the guy entering year number 14. He's not entering year number 2 or 3 like Wemby was with the Spurs. The Spurs probably had many more chances at a championship, even after losing to the Knicks in the title, where Giannis maybe has maybe a 5-6 year run of being an elite player before he starts to become an older guy who's either hanging on or retired. They have to do it quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you don't make this move without having some tricks up your sleeve, and I'm going to be interested to see what Pat Riley decides to do next, especially in the backcourt when you have some help in the front court. So let's see what Pat Riley does, because there's something that got Giannis to say yes.
Though, because Pat Riley, I think, knows what he's doing. Even now, as he's gotten older, I still think he hasn't really lost his fastball. I think if anyone's going to put this team together, I think you've got the right guy. Pat Riley and Spoelstra, their head coach, who's been around for a long time with the Heat. They've won multiple championships. I think you have the right brain trust who's going to assemble this team around Giannis and Bam. So at least I would hope, if you're a Miami Heat fan, you have a lot more confidence that this will get done the right way because you have the right people in place making the decisions. Other teams, I would not trust their decision makings. Pat Riley and Spoelstra, I trust the two of them. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to see what Pat Riley is going to do next. And again, Giannis has been brought up in trade talks for years, but now allegedly, because this is a proposed trade until it's officially done on July 6th, this is something he's agreed to up to this point.
He apparently wanted it, though, because what I heard, even as of this morning, the Bucks didn't want to get rid of him. They still, to the last minute, tried to beg him to stay. And at that point, in any relationship, move it to like a romantic relationship, the relationship's over if you have to beg them to stay. They don't want to be there anymore. You have to let them go. They were trying to find a way to keep him. But he told them even last year, this was over a year ago, going into this season that was a failed year and he was hurt a lot. And Doc Rivers now is retired. They have a new coach. He told them, I have no intention of resigning with you. So if you decide to keep me and not trade me, I'll play it out. I won't demand to be traded because he wants to be a good guy and be liked by everyone. He wants his legacy in Milwaukee, and I'm retired. We brought him a championship. First time in over 50 years since Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar before he went to the Lakers, Kareem. He's like, but I will play it out and I will not resign with you. He said, no way, 0% chance I'll ever resign with you. So either trade me now, get what you can for me, get pieces to improve and rebuild, or I leave when my contract expires. So pretty much he told them that. So for the last year, 13 months, they said, the ESPN insiders were saying that this morning, they've been looking for a deal, and though they didn't want to trade him, Milwaukee reluctantly agreed, we'll finally look for a trading partner because we got to get something good for you in return. And you've already told us you think that this is unsalvageable. I need to go to a contender. Milwaukee's never going to contend again with me there. It's too much of a rebuild in my, getting older as a player. He told them, I'm not coming back. So pretty much he forced their hand that get the best deal you can for me because there's no way I'm coming back, no matter how much money you offer me. So that's why last year they looked at possibly the Knicks because he was interested in New York, but they had Karl Anthony Towns, and maybe if they didn't win a championship, the Knicks would be desperate to get in on that deal. But the Knicks now want to keep their players and try to defend the title. And then the Celtics were really in on it. Pretty much the two finalists were Miami and Boston. And in the end, they said Milwaukee offered them more pieces, more draft picks, where Boston thought it was enough to give him only a couple of draft picks, and the main centerpiece, even though he probably would have been the best player Milwaukee could have gotten, was Jaylen Brown. But Milwaukee wanted more diversity in terms of more draft picks, more diverse player capital than just Jaylen Brown and 2 picks. They wanted more, and the Celtics figured Jaylen Brown is enough, that him and 2 picks should get this done. And Miami was desperate enough. They were able to continue on by offering him picks into the future and including tonight, and that's why the deal got done. But pretty much, Giannis wanted to have his cake and eat it too. He wanted to be liked and loved in Milwaukee, but he also, without demanding trade, said, I'm not coming back. Get the best you can for me now because this is unsalvageable. So Milwaukee didn't want to, but they were forced into making this deal. They had to do the best they could. But in the end, is this the better deal because they got more pieces and more draft capital? and more flexibility, or maybe it would have been a better deal to take Boston's role, even though Boston would become a juggernaut. And they have, and for Giannis, Boston is probably a more ready team to win right now than Miami is as of now. And you at least get Jaylen Brown through Milwaukee, a great player. But in the end, Milwaukee decided not to do that. I still think Milwaukee might have been better off taking the Boston deal with getting Jaylen Brown, but they're banking on these draft picks and flexibility to help them in the future. But Jaylen Brown's a tangible star player right now. You might have wanted to take that deal, but they went the other way.
Well, they might be thinking, hey, we're in a rebuild, as opposed to thinking we only need a couple pieces, because who is going to join Jaylen Brown if he were to be with Milwaukee? Is that going to be a good situation for him? Is it going to be a good situation for Milwaukee to get into the postseason? Probably not. Bam Adebayo, by the way, the historic 83 points came on March 10th, 2026. He scored 83 of the 150 points scored in the game in a victory there over the Washington Wizards, who scored 129. That means that he accounted for all but, he scored 83 points, and all of his teammates on Miami combined to score in that game. And this is what is more insane than anything. His teammates scored 47 points in that matchup, that he scored what he scored. So, I mean, to look at
free throws,
I'm sorry. I know I did that wrong. 57 points. So let's make sure that Dan can do. No, wait. That's wrong too. It's 67. So he scored 83 and they scored 67 because, okay, wow. I'm mathing wrong this morning. I'm really good at numbers. I don't know what happened to me. I kind of blacked out. So the entire Miami team, not named Bam Adebayo, on March 10th, 2026, scored 67 points. Bam scored 83. He outscored his team, and he was close. You look at his 83 points to the points against him, 129. So 36 points. So you look at the amount of points that were scored in this game. He scores 83. His teammates as an entire squad combined to score the other 67. Then his 83, when you put it into the 129, that's 46 points. So he was with, that's just wild to me.
But he's not gonna, if Giannis is healthy, he's never gonna do that again in a game, Bam, because Giannis is gonna get the ball a lot. Bam will get opportunities, but he'll have to settle for more 20 or 30 points in a really good game. Giannis is going to be the main focal point. I don't think with Giannis on the court with him, he's ever coming sniffing at 83 points again. But I do remember something crazy, like something about 40, might have been almost half his points were free throws. So people were really disgusted they didn't pull him in a blowout, and that they just actively wanted him to pass Kobe Bryant for second all time for most points in a game. And it was just a ton of the referees just kept bailing him out, and they kept fouling him, and he would get rebounds of his own rebounds and tip them in. So it was a great game for him, great performance, but it was a bad Wizards team, and it was against, it was pretty much them trying to get him the record. And again, they're probably better off with him and Giannis and not him going for records. But this year was a bad Miami Heat team. So you probably figured, what the heck? This is my opportunity. Let me get it done. Because now if it's a good team, they're doing what they're supposed to do, contend for a championship. He's not coming close to that, but that's probably better for the Miami Heat, their players and their fan base, because that means they're probably doing their job and they're having a chance to win. If he has another 83-point game, they're not going to be a winning team again. That's all you have to know. So you want to bypass that if you're the Heat. You don't want him ever coming close to that, because that means you're a bad team. And that's the only thing you're hanging your hat on, that he can score a lot of points against a crappy competition.
And please forgive my math this morning as my brain catches up with my mouth. I'm usually very, very good at that.
3 + 2 = 6? I don't know. 6,
hey, listen, in some of the schools now, 2 + 2 is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then my bank owes me money. So, I mean, that's just, some things in life, folks, cannot be argued. One of them is math.
Well, they had a comedian, I forget who it was, if it was, it might have been Nate Brigatti or maybe Sebastian Maniscalco, and I love how you do the impression, where he said, I think it was Sebastian, he said one of the kids in his fancy kids prep class, they said that they are a cat, and you have to address them as a cat. The teacher had to address them as a cat, the whole parents, you had to address the child as a cat because that's what they want to be, and you don't want to offend anyone. I get that. But it's still weird to consider a child a cat. So that's, when you said that, that's what brought to my mind Sebastian going back and forth saying, this is a big distraction in the middle of my class. How am I going to learn if this kid keeps calling himself a kitty cat the whole class?
I'll tell it to you like this. To anybody who thinks that they're an animal, I would say two things. One, If you're an animal, give up your phone, give up your car, give up your food, give up your bed, because if you want to commit to being that animal, you can't have any of those things. Two, I would say to you, there's no animal in the wild right now pretending to be a human.
No.
So let's just be real. And I was like, you want to know how I'd fix this? This is how I'd fix it. If I had a daughter or a son sitting at my dinner table and they said, Dad, you can't call me a human. You can't call me by a name. I'm a cat. I would say, okay, then give me your phone. And they say, why? I said, cats don't have thumbs. They can't text. So I'd take the phone. This is stupid. I'm going to go drive. You can't drive. Cats can't drive. You got to give me the keys. The cats can't reach the pedals. They can't turn the wheel. Well, I'm just going to go upstairs and hang out in my room. Well, when you go upstairs and hang out in your room, there's a litter box there for you. And by the way, you're sitting at the dinner table with a steak in front of you. Cats don't eat steak. Here's your catnip. And then if they got really mad and started yelling at me, I would say to my wife, I would be like, what do you hear? Because all I hear is, wow. That's what I mean. That's how you get rid of crazy. You give it to them. You're either going to commit or you're not going to commit. You can't be a cat in school and a kid at home. You can't do that stuff. If that's who you are, then that's who you are. And listen, baby, if you want to be a cat, you ain't hurting me. I'm not hurting you. But let's just be real. If you're going to be a cat, commit to your role 24/7. You're going to have to walk the streets and find your own food.
I agree. So like some of it's just silly. So when you mentioned about like, could kids, certain things like math, you can't really argue. So kids could argue 4 + 2 doesn't equal 6. So then I'm like, oh, that sounds a lot like that comedy monologue. I'm like, yeah, I think you're a person. I don't think you're a cat. So I'm like, but like I said, I'm accepting of everyone, and I want everyone to live their best life. But I think you're a human being. I don't think you can be a human who's also a kitty cat. So
I'll tell you this right now.
I hope that's not controversial. That I think a human is
no. There's things. Listen, when you and I were
canceled, I don't know.
No, when you and I were growing up as kids, if somebody dressed up as a fox, they went to a padded room. They didn't get a cookie and told that they were wonderful people. Like this, I was in a hotel recently, and there was a grown woman, probably in her 30s or 40s, and she had a foxtail on, and she had a stuffed animal dog in her hand.
Were you in a furry convention?
No.
Like you were in Vegas for a furry convention.
No,
because they dress like animals in the convention.
No, I was at
the whole sexual component.
I was at Disney. I just had dinner with my mom.
And that doesn't mean there's not a furry convention going on.
Well, maybe there was the Polynesian.
Who knows? After dark in Disney, it might turn very risque.
Listen, I don't want to be in Disney after dark. I don't want to see none of that. So I got thoughts, and I don't want them to be true. So no, but I am in this elevator, and this is where I'm going to Sebastian Maniscalco for a minute. But I'm in the elevator. And
you do a lot of hand gestures, just a lot of movement with his body when he talks.
I've said to a ton of people after you said it to me the last time you were on the show, I said, one of the best compliments Ross could ever given me is he goes, when you get really amped up and passionate about something, you get very Sebastian Maniscalco.
Look at you, and then look at the Saturday Night Live sketch with the funny man Marcelo Hernandez, who's going to host the ESPYs in another couple weeks on ABC. He does hilarious Sebastian Maniscalco on Saturday Night Live. He did it like 2 or 3 times this past season. Look it up on YouTube or Peacock. You will laugh your behind off. I don't know if you're allowed to say yes on this. You'll laugh your butt off. And I think you do a good one as well. But look at Marcelo Hernandez. Hilarious, his mannerisms. You'll think that you're watching Sebastian in the flesh.
Well, and that's the thing is like, you think I'm doing a good impression. I'm just being me. I went to go see Sebastian Maniscalco recently.
One of the funniest guys you'll ever see.
I went to go see him. I got floor seats. I'm out there watching him at Turning Stone, and I was with my buddy Isaac, and I looked at him and I go, you and I have had almost all of the conversations he's had on stage right now. And when he talks about annoying people and he does their voice, it's the same thing that I do.
He breaks it down, slows his voice down. So he did a really hilarious one about a grocery store and about how everything's now self-checkout lanes. He's like, when did I start working at Wegmans? When did I start working at the grocery store? And then to get better at it, he said he'd sneak in either early or late at night, and he would do a dry run at the self checkout because he wanted to be an expert at it. Because he's like, I didn't realize this is my job now. This is a part-time job, guys. And then he'd come then when it got hot in the middle of the day or nighttime with a lot of people, and he'd show everyone how to work it. Because he said a lot of the kids working the self-checkout, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're playing on their phones. He'd be showing the old biddies, the old ladies how to run the machine because he scouted it out the night before, and this became his new passion of how to be an expert at self-checkout. But he was like, when did I start working here? He said, I never signed up for this. And that's what we've become. And look at it, most stores, you pretty much have to do self-checkout now in almost every store.
Let me tell you something. So I got 2 stories. Let me tell you about the Fox lady first. So this was disturbing. This was disturbing. It was.
The whole thing's disturbing.
No, but this was very disturbing. So I'm on the elevator with my mom. And this woman comes so we get on the elevator, we hold the elevator, there's a family, there's a mom and a dad, and there's 2 little girls. And then we hold it, and this woman gets on, and you can just sense that, she's a little eccentric, she's a little different. That's fine. Everybody live your life. So she comes on. I don't see the tail when she's on, thank God. Because if I saw it and then my mom saw that I saw it, my mom would have said something, because my mom's not like me, where I'm like, you know what, I'll pray for you. My mom's like, there's something wrong with you. So the woman's holding a stuffed animal dog, and the little girl, she goes, is that a real dog? And the girl goes, it's real to me. And I'm like, don't do that. Don't pass on what you, like, this is what you believe, and this is what you're doing, and maybe it's a safety blanket. And I understand that. Maybe you've been through a lot in your life. But don't tell this 9-year-old girl that it's... And then she's like, can I pet it? She's like, sure, you can pet it. Oh, he's so soft. And I'm sitting here going, now she's now telling this child, these children, that the fake dog is a real dog. So now her reality is disrupted a little bit here. And then when she gets off the elevator, I see a giant foxtail on her. And I said to myself... I was like, makes sense. But, so this is what I would have done if I was Polynesian. I would have stopped the woman. I would have said, hello, are you a woman or are you an animal? And she would say, I'm a fox. And I would say, did you see our sign? Our sign says that we can't have any animals in here unless they are emotional support animals or service animals. So I'm going to have to ask you to leave because we can't have foxes in here. And to be completely honest, if you have a problem with this, don't talk to the hotel. You have to talk to animal control. So that's what I would have done. Listen, if there's 2 people dressed as dogs fighting each other in a home, and I come there as a cop and I try to break it up, and then they get mad at me and say, we're ferocious dogs, I would call animal control, or I would call PETA, and I would say, figure it out, because obviously I'm not supposed to be here for this. So I fight crazy with logic. That's what I do. I know people don't like it in 2026, but I fight crazy with logic. My second story is, where was I going with this? I was talking about the fox thing.
You're talking about foxes, something that can one up a fox.
I was talking about the fox, and then there was another story that I had recently. Oh, there was the woman that got attacked by a dog who said she was a dog, and I said, well, that dog proved that you're a liar. So, but listen, it's a very strange world that we live in today, and I think
don't
that
want to hurt anyone's feelings. So I get it. Like, you want everyone to live their best life.
Yeah, but you know what that does? When you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, what it does, it creates, when you are so nervous to tell anybody that maybe something's not okay,
you're on it.
We create a psychotic world. Like, we don't create a sane world. Think about it. If China was to invade America today, it would invade a country full of cat people, dog people, fox people, and tortoise people. And if World War II had those people, we would be speaking German right now.
Probably. And then with China, a lot of the times that's why they keep trying to want to ban TikTok, because they're like, a lot of these, kind of interested, wacky kind of people, they just post crazy videos on a Chinese website like TikTok, and you don't think anything of it, but that's become their life. Glued to the screen, algorithms, and 10, 12 hours a day of looking at TikTok videos or making TikTok videos. And that's sometimes their job. They're an influencer, an online influencer. That's normal in 2026. So it is a wacky world. I try to keep up with it. I try to be understanding with an open mind for our kids, and to have a good, try to understand. I don't want to be the Clint Eastwood old man, Gran Torino, get off my lawn and all that. Because sometimes when I listen to new music, I feel like Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino. I feel like life has passed me by, and the slang kids use, like, that's gone past me. Everything was sus and Riz and all this like and the 6'7" nonsense and this. I'm like, it all has passed me by, and I don't understand. I've become the old man now. I don't think I'm that old. I'm only about to be 40, but I think I'm the crazy old man taking it off my lawn, or the old man from the Up movie with the balloon house and all that. But there are just some things that don't make sense, and I like the times you can call it out that it doesn't make sense. But in this day and age, pretty much you have to let anything go because everyone's afraid. They're on eggshells. They don't want to offend anyone, and I don't want to offend anyone either. But I think some things are wackadoodle, and some things have merit that you should have understanding for and be compassionate about. But other things are insane.
Right. I mean, listen. There's nothing wrong with tough love. There's nothing wrong with caring about somebody. Listen, if you're a little kid, if you're my 5-year-old son and you think you're a dinosaur, I'm going to get on the ground and play dinosaur with you. Yeah. If you're 27 years old and you're going around Target with your tiny arms telling your boss that you can't pick up the T-shirt because you're a T-Rex. I'm not paying a T-Rex because the last time I checked, the T-Rex does not have a pocket or a bank account, so I have no idea where he's going to put his money. Is he going to eat it? So, like, that's all I'm saying is, like, yes, as a child, imagination, and you grow up.
It's cute. You want to foster imagination, and you want to build up. But when you're like a 30-year-old man and you think you're a dinosaur at a Target, it's a little weird at that point. It's kind of too far.
Right. It's strange, okay? If I'm driving on the street and there's a guy driving behind me who thinks he's a dragon, I don't feel safe. I'm not going to feel safe. So that in and of it, listen,
Did you think we would get to the point, we start the conversation with Jake Paul, then Giannis, then about a few different relationships, then we got to foxes and about adults thinking they're dragons and T-Rexes. I didn't know we were going to get this far. They joke that President Trump, he does like I forgot what they call it, a weave, I think he calls it. He starts one way, he goes to a place in the middle,
come back.
At the end of the conversation, you're like, what the hell what did I start by saying? That's kind of what we did. We did like the Trump weave. We started one place, we got to another, and by the end of it, we're talking about foxes and dinosaurs who human beings think they are. It's very intriguing where
would you like the president to make an official address?
Absolutely. Talk about the weave. He talks about doing the conversation weave.
Okay. I mean, for the president to make this will be the conclusion of this conversation, because I know people have been patient to have the upcoming conversation here with Jessica Phillips. But if I may,
wait, we're doing a weave right now. This is where we got to go where the conversation takes us, buddy.
So if I may.
He just had his 80th birthday. It's about to be America's 250th.
Okay. Excuse me. I'm talking. You're not talking. I'm talking. If you are talking, you have to shut up. Nobody's listening. Okay.
I loved your UFC fights on your birthday. They were cool.
I appreciate the UFC. It's very important to me. It stands for Uncle Funky Character. That's me. So, okay, first of all, and first and foremost, I started with Jake Paul because he's a great man, great fighter. Really good guy. Thought he could have beat Mike Tyson. Thought he could have got him. I think maybe something was weird. We're going to have the Supreme Court look at it. I don't care. So first and foremost, we went there. Then we moving into a world of sports and some guy named Antetokounmpo. He's a great guy. He's a great man. Then we came back to turtle people, dragons, and things that I like. First, I want to say this, and I want to say it one time and one time only. I want to tell everybody right now. Okay. The House of the Dragon on HBO is the only place where I want to see people and dragons, but never dragon people. Thank you and good night.
Not a Tarjay. You don't want any of this. Very good impersonation. I'll give you a golf club. I'll clap it up. That was good. I like that. That's got to be posted, and people. I would love that to be a viral clip right there. That was very good. You were in character. You were, they talk about Daniel Day-Lewis method acting. You were President Trump at that moment. Love him, hate him, indifferent towards him. You believed you were Trump, and you were President Trump at that moment. Very good method acting there. Very good impersonation.
Well, I tell people all the time, if I'm going to go into my impersonation, I have to detach from myself and become them.
Yes.
So, like, whoever I am,
you have to respond as you're the president, and people have to call you Mr. Trump or President Trump because you have to like live that life, live that truth.
That's
while
why
you're-
that's why I close my eyes. I get very orchestra because I tell people all the time, I'm like, Bernie Sanders is on a roller coaster at all times. Bernie's Bernie's over here, then he's over there, then he's down.
His hair is always like,
he's like, I'm frizzled out. I look like a cartoon character. I look like somebody that would knock on Homer Simpson's house and tell him that the sky is falling because I'm very scared. I just want to be left in my house. And then you have Trump. So you have the roller coaster, and then you have Trump, who's very much an orchestrator, very much of over here, over there, trombone come in and saxophone, and we're done. And then you have the button pusher, which is Bill Clinton, where he's like, hey, baby, I just want to touch it. And he just, give me the remote, let me get sassy.
He's very suave,
he's very smooth, very in character all the time. Monica Lewinsky, what a perfect little specimen. And you just hit it. So, so there's different... So when you have to know what you're dealing with, and then there's like,
and what's the Joe Biden? You got to wear the aviator sunglasses, your mouth wide open, like you don't know who you are. That's kind of the Biden, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and because there's some that people ask me to do, and I'm like, they don't have a unique voice. They just have
you need something unique to them.
They just have things that they do, like Joe Pesci has such a unique voice, and because I'm Italian and I'm a New Yorker, there's like something built inside of me, but I just higher pitch it. So I think about what I would say, and then I come over here and I'm looking at this and I'm going, how the hell did that raccoon get up inside of my my chimney? And I'm going to tell you this right now, okay? I don't live in the suburbs for one reason and one reason only. These freaking raccoons, I tell you, I fought some people in Brooklyn, in the Bronx. I've been all over Staten Island, but this thing, it scares the crap out of me. It's whining in the middle of the night. It's telling me it needs something. I don't know what you need, but when I walk outside to walk my dog and I see them little orange eyes looking at me, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this right now. If I shoot and I miss, I don't know. Maybe I'm not here tomorrow.
Perfect right there. I think we could get a new Home Alone movie coming right there. Old man Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, and get middle-aged Macaulay Culkin out and about. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, so with that being said, and yes, with Seattle and Vegas, we were going to talk about it. Seattle and Vegas looking at potentially getting NBA franchises.
They claim in 3 years it's probably happening. 2029.
I bought a Seattle Supersonics hat when I was down in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I loved it as a kid. Sean Kemp, the Rain Man, and then the glove, what's called Gary Payton. I was a big Sonics fan, so I'm glad for the city. They deserve to have an NBA basketball team again. Should have never left. If Oklahoma City wanted their own team, get an expansion team. They should have never left. And when they won the title last year, that should have been Seattle Sonics, Supersonics championship. It stinks that Oklahoma City, happy for them. And Oklahoma just won the national championship in college baseball last night over North Carolina. But I'm sad that Seattle didn't get that championship. And they had Kevin Durant for 1 year in 2007, 2008. And then they moved the next year to Oklahoma City with Russell Westbrook. And they lost in the finals 2012 to Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and LeBron James in the Heat. But I'm like, the Sonics, Seattle deserves an NBA team. Great NBA town. Vegas, all the teams are moving to Vegas. Baseball's moving to Vegas with athletics. Football and hockey are already there. The only thing they need left is a basketball team. So that's the final piece. And how prevalent sports gambling with FanDuel and DraftKings used to be, like they would poo-poo it with Pete Rose of the world. You're banned for life. Everyone's gambling on sports now, whether it's right or wrong. The guy you just mentioned, who now might be in the supplemental draft, and Texas Tech was originally going to fight to bring him back. He had a gambling addiction. That was a whole controversy. Said he has a problem. And now he might go to the NFL, and we'll see what happens with the supplemental draft. But it looked for a while they were going to find a way to have a court injunction and bypass the NCAA and Big 12. And he was going to play college football this year. Now it looks like he's going to go to the NFL. Said, screw that. So gambling's everywhere. So you knew it was only a matter of time that all the major sports are coming to Vegas. And with basketball, they're the final team. They have baseball, hockey, and football.
They have WNBA. I mean, they already have it.
WNBA has won multiple championships, the Aces. I think Tom Brady's one of their co-owners.
Yeah, and you got to think about it, too. WNBA making history, getting to an NBA city before the NBA team gets there, arguably. By the way, real quick here.
Seattle's been winning championships with Brianna Stewart. With the Seattle Storm, I think it is.
Seattle lost the Sonics, and the Storm, with the #1 overall pick, drafted CNS alum and Central New York native Brianna Stewart to their team, who just won a championship with the New York Liberty in 2024. Want to shout out the Yankees, your Yankees, really quick. they, without Aaron Judge, still have the second best record, or the second best amount of wins in all of Major League Baseball. The most wins at the time of conversation, the Dodgers have 50. The Braves and the Yankees have 48 apiece. The Braves have played 2 less games, so they're 48 and 29. The Yankees are 48 and 31. But like last year, without Garrett Cole, they found a way to get right and make the postseason. And now, without Aaron Judge, we've seen the fact that this team is 2 wins shy of having the best record in baseball still.
Yeah, next man up. Aaron Judge is a great player, but he gets hurt a lot. Giancarlo Stanton gets hurt a lot. Hopefully they'll be back soon. Garrett Cole came off Tommy John surgery, missed all last year. Max Fried, their great lefty pitcher, is hurt, but he's coming back soon. He's rehabbing his elbow. Trent Grisham's been hurt. A lot of Yankees have been hurt. Clark Schmidt's another good pitcher who had Tommy John surgery. They're finding a way to fight back. Ben Rice is having a great year at first base. 22 home runs, leading for all first basemen, homers, and RBIs. Paul Goldschmidt, the old 38-year-old, he's playing out of his mind. Cody Bellinger's playing well. Jazz Chisholm has picked it up of late. They're getting healthier. They're going to get those pieces back, which is going to feel like big trade deadline moves, even if they don't make a move, by getting the guys getting healthy again. And they have Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez, 2 young players who I've seen play for the Rail Riders in Scranton nearby, getting called up, and they're contributing. So the Yankees, they're not perfect right now, but they're a good, solid team, next man up, playing well with all the injuries and young kids. And the guys are stepping up. And then hopefully these players get back healthy. And you add an Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and a Max Fried, the sky's the limit. They have a great pitching staff. Cam Schlittler, great young pitcher, dominating people, struck out 13 batters last game. Garrett Cole's back. Carlos Rodon's back. The Yankees have a dangerous pitching staff. Their bullpen needs to be fixed. And then their position players, they get their players back healthy, especially Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. This is a dangerous team that can compete for a championship and haven't won a World Series in 17 years. I know Judge is like, we saw the Knicks just win an NBA title after a long drought. And for the Yankees, they got spoiled, the Yankee fans. 17 years is a long time to not win a World Series. They lost 2 years ago to Ohtani, the Dodgers, but they haven't won one since 2009. When I was there with my brother, we got tickets, we got this bucket list, got to see them win a World Series in person with the Bleacher Creatures against the Phillies in 2009. I'd love to see it, and even Aaron Judge said, I would love to see them us come back in October, and let's have 2 parades in New York City celebrating 2 major teams win championships the same year. They had Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart throughout the first pitch last Wednesday after winning the title, the night before the big parade in New York for the Knicks. Let's see if the Yankees could do it. Let's get them healthy. Meanwhile, they're playing well even with all their banged-up players. They get healthy. Hopefully they can mesh together as a cohesive unit. Let's see them try to raise the championship banner and win a record. They already have 27. Let's see them go for a record 28 World Series championships.
Yeah, and I did a thing last week where I spoke about every professional team of all sports that are connected to the state of New York, and the most championships, 27, with the New York Yankees. Last one, 2009. To some Yankee fans, it's been an eternity. With that being said, Mr. Turetsky, thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for being a brother to me. Thank you for all your positive and kind words. I send them back to you tenfold. I love you, and send my best and my love to Abby, as well as to LJ and Lorelai, and to the whole family, to your little pup. And I always look forward to talking with you soon.
It's a pleasure being on. I got to get the dog out for a walk, take the kids to go swimming on a nice summer day. Thanks for having me on, buddy. Love you. And Jamie! Thank you, buddy. Keep that Trump impersonation and Sebastian Maniscalco going, and I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Sounds good, buddy. Love you.
Bye.
That coming from Ross Turetsky one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I appreciate your patience here. As I always know with Ross and I that if it's the first hour of the show, I got to have it be the back hour. I got to have it be the second hour because we always go over. So we'll take a quick step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we will have our special with Jessica Phillips. Thank you for your patience as the softball alum of Binghamton University and the 2026 inductee into their Hall of Fame is going to join me right after this. Stay with us. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place, and I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. We have a delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, and you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location, and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, coming out of that break inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They're open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and all the time online at greatlakeshondacity.com. We are here inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats. We call it the Bearcat Breakroom, featuring student athletes, coaches, administration, and alum. And it's always my pleasure to invite the Bearcat family to take the spotlight here on Wake Up Call. It was something I thought Binghamton should have had years ago, and I'm very honored that for the last 2+ years we've been able to do it here on Wake Up Call. So, in my Bearcat break room today, we have Jessica Phillips coming to us from CNS and Binghamton softball history, reflecting on her career and the journey to where she is today. And I love having our alumni segments, and we get to do them throughout the year and typically in the summer as well. So, Jessica, happy to have you here.
Dan, thank you so much for having me. This is an awesome opportunity. I was able to check out, some of your interviews, and I'm beyond humbled to be a part of this.
Well, listen, it's my honor and it's my privilege to be able to celebrate the Bearcat family. And, any student athlete or coach should know and hopefully does know that once you finish up, once you're an alum or you retire as a coach or whatever it may be, that there's always a place for you here on Wake Up Call. So any alum that comes through the program, like yourself, Jessica, there's always a place for you to come back and talk about your life and the Bearcats as well.
Well, we appreciate that. That's awesome. It really is a perfect opportunity to be able to reflect. It's funny. It's kind of been a little while, so I had to go back into the memory banks of some things. So, I do appreciate taking that opportunity to do that.
Well, like I said, it's my pleasure and an honor and a privilege. So looking at you reflecting and going back to your time playing at Binghamton University, and when we go back to that time period here, we're looking at Binghamton for you back in the 2010s period. And so, 2010, 11, 12, and 13 after being at CNS. When you said you had to reach back and kind of think back on some stuff, what was the first memory that came to mind about Binghamton for you personally?
So I think for me, it was probably when I missed my diving catch in the America East Championship that I wish I kind of could look back at and redo, but that one hurt a little bit. But I think, the bigger picture was just I walked away with a family. And so when I think about, my time as like a softball player, I think about so many people. And, having that opportunity to, share on and off the field experiences with so many people.
And having those on and off the field experiences, I know you talked about one on the field. What's one Binghamton experience from off the field that comes to mind?
That I can say online? No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I think one of the ones was when our teammate, a good friend of mine, Kate Price, ended up raising a ton of money for St. Baldrick's. I got to be the mascot, the Bearcat mascot, walk around the school, and we just kind of raised awareness and kind of fundraised for St. Baldrick's event. And she ended up shaving her head, and for a really awesome cause. And so I think for me, it was just kind of seeing like, the bigger picture of a group of people, kind of why we're here, giving back to the community, and especially doing something, so, brave, I guess.
For somebody that doesn't know about St. Baldrick's, and I'm familiar because there's some things that have been done in my hometown of Syracuse, New York, what would you say to someone about St. Baldrick's and why it's so important?
I mean, I think taking the time, like a lot of people's lives are impacted by cancers, by diseases, by things that, are completely out of our control. And this was an opportunity that, when people have cancer, unfortunately, it's the first thing that, tends to happen is, they lose their hair, and it just kind of makes an opportunity to say, what, like, we're here for you. We're all, united in this. We're all a team going through it.
Yeah. And for you to be a part of that experience, a part of, reaching out to the community and saying, we're here for you. You're not doing this by yourself. Like, we got you. Just what that did for you personally, and how it's affected your life in a positive way to be in such a position to reach out to a total stranger and say, you're not going to walk alone.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of, I don't want to say stigmas, but there's a lot of things that, it's taken a while for people to either feel comfortable with, to have conversations, to kind of open up. And I think on a whole variety of aspects. And I think like events like that kind of opens the doors to some of those conversations, to kind of, I don't want to say normalize it, but to say like, we're, like you said, like we got your back.
Yeah. And I think it's a beautiful thing to do to help anybody in any way. And of course, St. Baldrick's, the care and the love and the camaraderie of saying, you have to shave your head. Well, guess what? I'm going to meet you there, and we're going to do this together. You said you got to be the mascot, Baxter, the Bearcat. So what was that experience like for you?
Well, I accidentally put the head on while I was still in the car, and I couldn't get out of the car. So it took me a little bit to figure it out. I think I had I probably still have a red mark from it. But no, it was really cool. A lot of people just, buy into it. It's uncomfortable as all get up, but it was really fun to kind of just let loose and be out there.
How would you describe Baxter's personality, and how did you try to bring it to life?
Good question. So I think I would describe Baxter as kind of confident, but a little silly, a little goofy. And so, I tried to kind of be animated. It was hard to like not talk in it either. But just kind of like high-fiving, trying to amp up the crowd, just, vibing with, we brought some music, and I'm a terrible dancer, but I tried my best to channel my inner Baxter.
Yeah, I think it's in a few people in the world get to, get into the world of a mascot and to bring them to life. So I always find, it's the first time I've ever asked that question to anybody, but I find it to be really intriguing how you see them. And like you said, confident, but a little silly. And so, you said you're a terrible dancer. Did you dance in the costume? Did you try to have some fun? Did you get caught up in the moment, or was it Baxter kind of playing it chill?
I definitely tried my best to get some moves in. And so it was kind of a little bit of both. We were in a lot of different kind of parts of BU. So some places it was a little bit more chill than others. But we definitely tried to make it a really good time for everybody.
Yeah, and here with Jessica Phillips on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, this alumni special in the Bearcat Breakroom and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University here on Wake Up Call inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios. Jessica, to go back to your Binghamton days as a student athlete, before that at CNS, you were a North Star, and you will always be a North Star. What is your favorite memory from CNS time, and just what your takeaway was from being there?
Wow. It's actually kind of funny. So this past weekend, I was back up in Cicero, and I got together with a few of my friends that I actually played high school ball with. We played Little League together, and we're still, the best of friends. And so, every time we get together, we talk about, some sort of memories of the past, just because they were just so fun.
Yeah.
I remember different things of, from in softball, explicitly, like, going to states, winning states. But I also remember, that team played a lot of pranks on each other, and things like, in hotel rooms, people would leave like pickles in each other's bags, or just like random, just prank things that just kind of, made it just a kind of a fun experience, that you were just always on your toes around everybody.
Who was the best prankster at CNS?
Oh gosh. I would have to say, it's a tough question. I'd have to say probably between there were sisters, Britt Lindley and Nicole Lindley, and the two of them kind of connived some things. And I think that they definitely, like, one year we were in Florida, and I guess I was kind of part of it, but it was Brittany's idea. We collected the lizards that kind of all ran around, and we slid them underneath our coach's door. And so in the middle of the night, there were like 3 of them all throughout her room, just freaking out.
Is that the best prank that you feel like you've ever played, or is there one that's better?
I will say that there's probably one that was a little bit better, but I don't know if I could share it.
Okay, fair enough. I understand. I am a prankster that really found out how much of a prankster I was in college. And there's some that are off the air, and there's some that are on the air. So
yeah,
I totally understand it. So
yeah.
CNS, Central New York, you don't go too far. You go an hour south to another part of upstate New York in Binghamton University in the Southern Tier. What was it about Binghamton that sold you that was going to be your home?
And so I actually, nobody really prepares you for the recruiting process, when you're going through travel ball and everything. They're hounding you at 8th and 9th grade to kind of make a verbal commitment as to where you're thinking about going. And at that time, 8th and 9th grade, Jessica was ready to get out of upstate New York and kind of go and be away. So I actually started my career at Stony Brook University, even though Binghamton had been, recruiting me. And so then I realized about a couple months in that I think I actually wanted to be back home closer. And so it kind of was like a big reflective moment for me. And, I had taken that fall semester off and tried to figure out, what is next. And, back then the rules were much different than they are now. And so, I had to kind of navigate that. And so, but I will say that Binghamton has always felt like home. It's kind of funny, like my parents and I always talk about how on all of our travel ball trips and things like that, when we were coming home, it was like when we saw the Binghamton sign, it's like we knew we were almost home. It felt like home. And I guess at the time, like, I didn't really realize how much that really like resonated with me until I realized, like, yes, BU is home for me. So, I ended up working with, at that time, the head coach was Allie Bryan and the athletic director was Jim Norris. And, they were super supportive in kind of helping me figure out how to get there for that spring semester. So I redshirted that first year. And then I started that following fall to be able to be playing in games and things like that. So I think for me, it's always been, and the travel ball team I played out of was out of Binghamton. And so I think, like, again, it's always been there. It was always safe for me. And I think at the time when I made the choice, I thought I wanted something a little different than I actually really realized that I needed.
Yeah, and like you said, you went to Stony Brook, which, isn't too far, but it's on Long Island, so a little bit more of a trek. Being away, still being in the state of New York, but being away, like you said, I thought I wanted something different. I figured out I didn't. What was the moment? Like, did you have a moment where it just clicked with you, like, I'm in central New York, I want to get farther than an hour away, I got to go give myself a change of scenery? When did you get that notion, that reality of, you know what? I really don't want to be out here. I do want to be in Binghamton. I do want to be a little bit closer to home. Like, did you have a crossroads moment?
I think yes. I think that, if I could be completely transparent, I think, like a mental health aspect of being a student athlete is definitely real. And I think, having the weight of, you're a student first, making sure all your classes are figured out. And then also, while also being like that athlete and, getting to practices, getting to lifts, doing all that kind of stuff, it takes a big toll on you. And I think, I just vividly remember, like, I was just like, I want to be able to just go home for like a day and just be able to see my family and regroup and reconnect, and then like kind of go back if I needed to. But being at Stony Brook, it was not something that was really feasible, especially, traffic. It could take you 3 hours or it could take you 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that feeling of just wanting to be able to go home if you needed to go home. When did Binghamton become home? Central New York's home, but when did Binghamton become a second home for you, essentially?
I mean, I think so. I started playing the 18 and under travel ball team of it was the TC Tremors Gold under Lou Bishop, and we played just right by BCC in the complex over there. And so, between the practices and tournaments and, that being like the hub for, I started playing 18 and under when I was in 8th grade. So, this area, I knew this area. I had friends in this area. One of my teammates, Bree Andrews, she played at BU. So I was able to kind of connect with her too, to get her experience as to, what she likes, doesn't like, and she lives in this area. Like, I said, I want to be close, but I don't want to be super close. And she's, lives in the area. So like, having that dialogue, at that time was really what I think I needed more of when I'm thinking of that kind of a big decision.
So having the team that you had and the relationships that you had, the current coach of the Binghamton Bearcat softball team was one of your teammates, Jess Bump. So
absolutely.
So bring me into what Jess was like as a teammate and just that experience of being alongside her as a student athlete.
Yeah, Jess was every bit of a hard worker as you could ask for. She came in. She was one of the freshmen that, was starting. She was our middle infield. And I would say that, she worked her tail off every day. And she worked hard, played hard, and I respected that about her. And, I could see she was somebody that was a natural leader where she brought others kind of up to her speed. And that was really awesome to see because we had a big freshman class. And, under Coach Burrell or Flash Johnson, like, she brought in a lot of new recruits. And, I think Jess was a person that a lot of people really respected.
Yeah, and to see her now return to the program over these last few seasons, and then a couple seasons ago have the most wins the program's ever had, and for the last 2 seasons to be America East champions back-to-back and to advance to the NCAA tournament in back-to-back years. Just what that says about her as a coach. I mean, she's your teammate, and now you're watching your former teammate coach your alma mater to historical moments.
No, it's been awesome. I think for her, especially, after like the loss of her father, who was an amazing guy, to like, see her out there succeeding and like just growing as a person, and again, on and off the field, has been just so rewarding, both as a friend, a teammate, alumni. The girls are breaking records. They're out there doing what they need to be doing. And, I think the coaching staff all around has really, empowered them to do that.
And I mean, for you, a full circle moment, right? To see that teammate to head coach, do you try and get around the program? Do you try to go out and support and be physically there? Have you kept a good relationship with Jess Bump since? Just bring me into that.
I definitely would like it to be more. I know it's crazy because Binghamton is just, right there, but it's just like now that you're out of it, it's like life happens. And, I've been able to get to some games and do the alumni weekend. Jess and I text every so often, follow each other on social media. So I feel like, I'm kind of up to date with things. We always say we're trying, we want to get together, but, her life is crazy, I can imagine. And so, I'm looking forward to, I know like alumni weekend is always a great time where we reconnect, and it feels like just yesterday that we were on the team together.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, it feels like yesterday. It feels like it wasn't that far away from where it is right now. Do you have, I know you said that, a memorable moment for you, something that stuck out to you, was going for the diving catch and missing it. Do you have a favorite positive, uplifting moment where you really felt like you came to a place, like you rose to, you had worked so hard, you did so many things in the background that nobody saw, and then here you are in this moment? Do you have a moment or two where you really felt like, wow, this is me being at my absolute best?
Yes, I mean, again, it's been so long to be like thinking about this. I would say, and now I'm like blanking on the team that we even played. So, but there was a game that I went like 3 for 4, I think, with like 2 or 3 home runs in that game. And I think in that moment, I felt like it feels good. Like I felt proud of myself for, the hard work and being able to kind of produce in a game.
Well, I want you to be comfortable here, Jessica, in this moment as we read off a bunch of things that you achieved. Your career highs, runs 3, that happened 3 times, and the last time against St. Bonaventure on April 17th of 2013. Your hits career high is 4 against Siena in April 6th of 2011. Your doubles 2 versus UMBC, and that was in 2010, and versus Syracuse in 2012. Almost the exact 2 years. One was on April 2nd, 2010. The other one was April 12th, 2012. And then home runs, you had 2, 4 different times. Most recently in your career happened against Hartford on March 27th, 2011. Your RBI record happened 5 times when you had 4. Most recently in your career happened in 2011 on April 2nd against Niagara. Your walks, 4 against Hartford on March 31st, 2012. Your stolen bases, 3, which happened against Maine on April 22nd of 2011. And your total bases, 10 against Colgate on April 21st of 2010. Your career multiple hit games, 45. Career multiple RBI games, 24. Career multiple multiple home run games, you had 2. And then career grand slams, you had 2. And then longest hit streak, 12 straight games from March 30th, 2013 to April 17th of 2013. You were honored as the NFCA All-Region twice, 2010 and 2011, America East Co-Player of the Year in 2011, America East Rookie of the Year in 2010, America East All-Conference 3 times, 2010, 11, and 12, America East All-Academic twice in 2012 and 2013, America East Player of the Week 4 times, and America East Rookie of the Week 3 times. And I say all of that because guess who's going into the Hall of Fame in 2026? You are, and 13 years later, so just bring me into it. You're now going to be a Binghamton Hall of Famer, not just for softball, but for all sports, all student athletes to ever put on a Binghamton Bearcat jersey. You are one of the few to be a Hall of Famer, and it's happening this year.
No, I mean, when Jess called me, like it was unreal. You know, I am so grateful for the opportunity from BU, just, you know, academic side and being, you know, an athlete. It's been like, you know, it's been a while, but it still, you know, resonates with me every day, and everything that, you know, every bit of who I am today is because of the experiences that I had there. You know, and I would not, you know, I think this is exactly how it was supposed to happen. And, you know, while again, I said I started at Stony Brook, I think like this was, you know, the path that it was supposed to be, so that, you know, I could be my best self when I was at BU. And, you know, BU has given so much back to me that I am just eternally grateful for.
What did Jess Bump say in the phone call, letting you know that you're being inducted into the Hall of Fame? What were her words and just how that conversation went?
I'm pretty sure she screamed in excitement and just was like, "You're in the Hall of Fame."
Well, I mean,
no.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I think I blacked out, so there might have been other things, but I think like I just was, it was pretty surreal.
Now that you've had some time to think about it, what are your thoughts and feelings in this moment, knowing that you will be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Again, I think like I looked at, you know, some of the people who are being inducted and have been inducted, you know, to be able to have my name next to theirs is insane. And, you know, I feel like pinch myself still just because I'm like, is this really happening? And, you know, I just am honored that I was even a consideration at all, because there are so many people that are, you know, that should be receiving something like this. And so I want, on behalf of all student athletes like at BU, you know, I just want to say like, I'm proud to, you know, represent this.
Jessica Phillips here with us, the inductee for 2026 here to the Binghamton Bearcat Hall of Fame for Binghamton University. And in this Bearcat Breakroom, spotlighting her and her career, as well as what she has done since. And that's all coming to you in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Have you thought about your speech?
I have. And every time I think about it, I feel like I get some emotion, and then I want to kind of put it off because I'm not ready to feel some of those emotions. But I think, you know, I want the words to really resonate with everybody about like how truly wonderful this experience was for me.
Well, and I'm sure that when that time comes, those words will come to you, and that'll flow from you naturally. I think the best things are organic. Before we get into rapid fire, where we could put each other on the hot seat and have some fun with that, let everybody know life after softball. I think it's important for student athletes to know that there is a life, a long life after they're done playing, and you have stepped into a new era for yourself post-playing. So what are you doing now? And just bring us into the journey to where you are today.
Yeah, so I stayed at BU for my master's, and I got my master's in education and special education. And so for 7 years, you know, post-grad, I taught first grade at Union Endicott Central School District, just outside of Binghamton. And then kind of just before COVID hit, I just had the opportunity to go back to BU for my CAS in educational leadership. At the time, I wasn't 100%. I loved my job. I loved the kids. I loved the people that I worked with. So, you know, I was not necessarily looking to just, you know, go above to be an administrator. But, you know, as I finished my program, an opportunity arose in the same district. So I'm finishing up my 5th year as an assistant principal here at UE as well.
And being at, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, being at Union Endicott, I've gotten to know that school over the years and a lot of success that's come from there. You know, you're right around the corner from Binghamton University, Central New York native, but now here you are staying in the Southern Tier. Why did you want to stay in the area after getting your master's? Just what is it about the Southern Tier and the Binghamton, Endwell, Endicott area that just compelled you to stay there?
Well, I will say I pretty much, I think, stayed for the opportunity to work at UE. I did my student teaching, and we do 2 long placements at whatever school that we are at. And mine happened to be at the school that I'm a principal of right now. So I spent a lot of time, you know, with UE, and I loved everything, their vision, their mission, and, you know, the people. And I think, like I told you, like, I'm just constantly, you know, looking for that team aspect that I've had the privilege of having, you know, throughout my life. And, you know, I found it there at UE. And so I think I initially stayed because of that. And then I also took this time, because I had time, which was the first in forever, to kind of explore. You know, the cool thing about this area is you drive a half hour any direction, and, you know, you get to see something beautiful, different, and, you know, experience a lot of different things. I think it's a great community where the outreach is, people want to help each other. People are here for each other. You know, we have BU down the road that, you know, they've come and, you know, read to kids, have been a huge support for some of our, you know, after school events. It's been, you know, just a big community in this area, regardless whether you're Endicott, Endwell, you know, Vestal. It's just, you know, while we have our rivals, it's also, you know, again, we're all here for, you know, the same thing. I did also take the time after college to kind of really travel, because all my summers before that have mostly been traveling for softball. But this time I ended up getting one of those kind of like Ram ProMaster, so it looks like kind of like one of those Amazon Prime vans, and I converted it into a camper van. So I spent time kind of driving. I've gone up and down the coast a few times, and my goal is to go out west a little bit more.
And bring me into this a little more. Just why get into that world, and just, you know, the travel of it all. Like, what's inspired you to do this?
I think that, again, just there's so much out there that, especially having the opportunity to be able to travel and play softball. But when I traveled to play softball, I was playing softball. Like, that was the thing. But I feel like it kind of gave me a little taste of like what is out there.
Yeah.
And like, for example, like when we did a lot of travel ball, like out in Colorado, you know, my dad would make a special point to, you know, go and do something in that area that like we drove up like a huge mountain, and you know, those are things that I would have never gotten to do had it not been for softball. So now I have the opportunity, I have the time, you know, I have all that, and so there's just so much to experience, and just outside of, you know, the 607.
Yeah, and seeing the world, you know, being in a place that feels like home, that's become home, but then also seeing the world. I completely get that, can appreciate it and respect it. You're a principal, like you said, and so how would you describe the world of education today? What's it like leading a school and, you know, trying to educate? Because it's different now, right? There's social media, there's everything is accessible, there's AI, so there's this whole reality that like kids don't have to learn anything, they don't have to know anything, it's all there for them. There's cell phones in schools, there's a lot of stuff that didn't exist technologically or in, you know, really the culture of America back when you were in school, back when I was in school. So how do you navigate being a principal and being a leader in education today?
Yeah, so there definitely are challenges. I think, you know, I can only speak to the elementary side of things. So our school is K-5. So, you know, we have them before, you know, they're exposed to, you know, too much of it all, even though, you know, they definitely, you know, have a lot of time on devices and things like that. But, you know, this is my 5th year, and the principal, John Michael Shea, he's just finished up his 4th year, and he and I started teaching at the same time at the same school. So it's kind of like working with my brother, right? And it's been a great experience, and we are very kind of like-minded, where, you know, our goal is these kids are going to kind of like learn despite us, you know, but we want them to leave, you know, feeling safe, cared for, and loved, but also being good human beings. So the best part about our job is that, you know, there's so many teachers here that we're here when he and I both student taught in this school. So, you know, and this school is a school that has, you know, our English language learners. We have a high kind of poverty rate, you know, but every adult loves kids. And like, so that is kind of like what rings true through the walls as people come in, and you feel it and the kids feel it. And I think for us, like, that's our biggest goal, is celebrating, you know, supporting the adults that, you know, are in the trenches, you know, with the students every day, and then embracing, you know, the students for coming to school every day, being here, being present, and, you know, working hard.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, and it's, I mean, the opportunity to help young minds and hearts to grow and to learn and to be together. What would you say is the, you know, from you personally, what do you want a kid in elementary school, you know, that's around you? What would you like them to learn? Like, if you could only teach one thing, what do you hope to impart on the youth of today?
I think, well, there's a few. I mean, I want them to read is what I want them to do. I want them to be able to lead reading, because then they can be, you know, successful, you know, in whatever they choose. But I also want them to, I think, walk out of here feeling confident in themselves. And I think, you know, as kids get older, they go through puberty, they, you know, sports, there's so many different, you know, societal pressures everywhere you look. I wish that these kids could look at themselves and feel confident in whatever it is that they're doing. And things might not come easy, like reading, but, you know, they gotta work. And it's okay that things don't come easy. I think we live in a world right now where, I mean, I'm partial to this too, instant gratification. And there are things that we do need to work for, and things don't come as natural to everybody, but that doesn't mean that, you know, they can't do something.
Well, what do they say? The best things take time. So there's something to be said about that. Let's get into rapid fire. Any topic, any question, we can ask each other whatever we want. You get to ask the first, then I'll go. What's your first question for me?
What is your guilty pleasure TV show?
Big Brother. I'd say Big Brother. I'm not a reality show watcher, but I watch Big Brother. And I auditioned for Big Brother, got called down to New York City and did an open audition there, which was pretty crazy. So that was something unique and special, but I could say that. Definitely watch Big Brother. My question back to you, if you could like literally switch bodies, Freaky Friday, with any celebrity currently on the planet, who would you want to be for 24 hours and why?
I feel like I have to say Taylor Swift. I mean, she has it all right now. So I think for me to be her for a night, that would be a riot.
Okay, Taylor Swift. What's your next question for me?
What is your most used emoji?
It's got to be the crying with laughter emoji. It's got to be that one, because I love to laugh and I love to make people laugh. So
is it the one that's like straight up and down, or the one that's like tilted?
I use both, but the straight up and down probably more so than the other, I would say. Okay. If we could describe you in 3 emojis, what 3 emojis would describe you?
Oh, goodness. Probably the just smiling one. Probably the sunglasses one, because I wear sunglasses even when it's cloudy because I feel like my eyes are too sensitive.
Okay.
And then I like to think the dancing one.
Okay.
Because there are times that moves get busted out.
Okay. Fair enough. What's your last question for me?
Would you rather be stuck in an elevator with a chatty stranger or awkward silence?
It's an elevator. I mean, I guess I would say what happened to me most recently when I was in an elevator at a hotel within the last few days is there was the awkward silence. And then I said hello to the person and asked them how their day was going. And, him and I like talked the rest of the way, which was better than, because I feel like I'm just a type of person to be nice. So like if it's quiet, I feel like, am I being rude? Like, should I say hello? So, but I will say this, after saying hello to them and then getting out of the elevator, they were like walking next to me. And I felt like there was an eerie, like, are they going to follow me to the car that I'm going to? So I felt like I did a good thing, but then I felt like maybe they're crazy. So there was kind of like the dance of, should I have talked to this person? But yeah, I mean, I like to say hello to people. I like to be nice. My question back to you. If you were on a deserted island and you had enough food and you had enough water, what other 3 things would you bring with you? Like if food and water is already there, what are 3 things you need to have? Can be a living thing, can be a material thing, just 3 things.
I would say a flint, a tarp, and I'm thinking about my Survivor watching days. Flint, tarp, and maybe something to catch fish with.
Okay. For those that don't know what a flint is, we know tarp and something to catch fish. Describe why you would bring a flint and what it is.
You need to make fire. So I think it's magnesium. Is it a bar of magnesium?
It's a dark quartz-like stone that produces sparks when struck against steel. So
yes.
Yeah, so you'd want to be able to strike up a fire. Okay.
I would be hoping that I wouldn't need a knife because I don't have one. I'm hoping I'd be able to find something else to smack on it, but I might have to trade my knife for the fishing pole thing for a knife.
Okay. All right. Well, something to catch food, something for shelter, and something to create a fire to keep warm. So very resourceful. Maybe the Survivor is in your future. Jessica Phillips, celebrating our 2026 Hall of Fame inductee, one of the members going in the 2026 class to Binghamton University's Hall of Fame, and celebrating her career as well as where she is today. Jessica, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate a look behind the curtain into your life, sharing your story, and I hope we get to stay in touch, and I definitely look forward to what that speech ends up being for your ceremony.
Yes, Dan, this has been awesome. Again, I really appreciate the opportunity. This is taking me down memory road. So, this is a wonderful experience. So thank you so much for everything you do. And again, I've been watching some of your interviews and it's you cover a whole gamut. So again, to kind of be on this is a really wonderful experience.
Well, like I said before, it's my honor and I'm happy to do it. And I'm happy that we got to spend some time together here today. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Gina Husted. I'm part owner of Skippy's Ice Cream. The other half is my better half, Don Husted Jr. When somebody comes up to the truck and it's a family, it's nice that the older generation is nostalgic and they can tell the younger generation, back in my day, we used to have the truck around our neighborhood. So now you're lucky because the truck can come to your party, and you're lucky that this truck is at a festival and you're getting to buy the ice cream. And basically we're ice cream that comes to you now, specifically comes to you, not for you waiting for us, we're coming to you. We will do neighborhoods if you have a block party. We do birthdays, we do anniversaries, parties, we do celebrations of life, we do wedding showers, we do festivals, we'll do corporate events, we have a lot of corporate picnics, we have family reunions, so it's a whole wide range of whatever party you have, we'd love to be at. We're so appreciative of the community, always coming up to us at festivals and calling us to have different events. We have a lot of return customers. We always have people coming up to our truck. We're always there for the community. We always try to give back to different organizations and fundraisers, and so I think the community sees that. We like to give back to them. This is where we live. This is where we were raised. This is where our kids were raised. So the community is very special to us. I mean, obviously we've lived here our whole lives, so it means a lot that they come up to our truck and that they choose us, because we're just there to please the community and deal with as many people as we can in this community, because this is, like I said, where we were born and raised. If you'd like to get in touch with Skippy's Ice Cream and have us at your next event, I would suggest using our email, skipthecake, skipthecake, skipthecake@gmail.com. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us, and that's going to get the fastest response from us. If you choose to call, if you don't have an email, then you can call 315-456-9750, and we'll be glad to get back to you as soon as we can. Skippy's Ice Cream, the original ice cream truck.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. It could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to Buffalo, they're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Avicolli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicolli's for their casual pizza aside, their fine dining as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicolli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily?
Hello, this is Dylan Husted, the owner of the Baked Potato Express. We do mostly big festivals or big corporate like private events. Typically just big festivals such as like Taste of Syracuse, a food truck battle, Battle of the Wings. I do the state fair. They're ordering from a fresh food truck that is making real food and happy to make it and wants them to enjoy every bite. We season every potato before they go in the oven, and then they bake for an hour, and when they come out, we season them again after we cut them. We use real butter, real cheese, real ingredients, so it's all really good food and people love it. We have a lot of returning customers and regulars that we see very often. The customers really make a big impact, and this is a big food truck community. The events here are super busy. It's like in my blood. I like building things and creating stuff that people love, and me and my friends are the ones that run the truck, so it's kind of, we keep it's a tight circle in there, and we have like a family sort of oriented truck, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time doing it, and people love our food, so it ends up making it well for everybody. You can contact the Baked Potato Express at thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com or the Baked Potato Express on Instagram or TikTok. We are very happy to be partnered up with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive sponsor of the Annoying Moment of the Week. And be sure to try DT's baked potato creation at all of our food trucks. The Baked Potato Express. Let's get baked.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios that you just heard about. Great Lakes Honda City, available to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and online all the time at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. It is time for the ingredients to success. And I was up late last night racking my brain. Those of you that know me and know the show and what I'm about here, I don't do anything halfway. And trying to come up with the topic for today, it took me a couple hours late last night. The topic, navigate the Nos Knowing Yes is coming. It's really hard sometimes, and I'm not going to say it's not. I mean, I was talking to Ross about it earlier here on the show today, here on Wake Up Call, is, you know, when I graduated from college, I sent out about 91 applications, and I think over 40 of them were to TV stations. I got no interviews, and I received one postcard from a station in Connecticut thanking me for sending out my information and that they would keep in, they're not looking for anybody, but maybe in the future. There was a lot of no's. You're graduating college, you feel great, you're riding a high, you worked your tail off for the last 4 years. You send out almost 100 applications and you don't get not even get a single job, you don't get a single job interview from these, really. So in my life, I've had to hear no. No in relationships, no in friendships, no in work. No is hard. It's difficult. Some people shy away from taking risks because they don't want to hear no, right? You don't want to fall in love and have that person not love you back. You don't want to pour into a friendship and find out that that friend really isn't committed to you like you are to them, like you're always there for them, but then the one time you needed them, they don't show up. You don't want to pour into family and find out that it's a one-sided street with some of those people. You don't want to apply to a job and not get an interview See, the thing is, the more no's you hear, the more easy it is for some people to believe that they don't have value. But God, if I've learned anything in 40 years, and I know some of you believe in God and some of you believe in the universe, and I would say God created the universe. So even in believing in the universe, you're believing in a higher power. Whatever you believe in, if I've learned anything in 40 years, it's that God's plan is better than mine. And all of these yeses that I wanted, what would that have done to my life? If that relationship had worked out, would I have ever started my company? Would I have ever lived in Florida? Would I be close to Papa Joe and Mary? Would I have ever gotten Lily? If that friendship prevailed, would I have the friendships that I have today? If I had my closest friend of 12 years still to today, would I have my closest friend today? Would I have put the energy and the time into building that relationship? Probably not. And if I didn't have a bunch of no's that led me to working at Olive Garden for 4 months out of college, would I have ever worked at ESPN in Scranton? And from there, would I have ever gone back home to work at ESPN in Syracuse? And from there, I had to call ESPN in Orlando for 3 months. I felt terrible. I felt like I was like stalking the guy because I was calling every day, every other day. And you know what he told me after the fact? If you had not, he said, you feel like you're stalking, you feel bad. If you didn't reach out to me as often as you did, as consistently as you did, I would have never given you the job because I would have forgot about you. No disrespect. I got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things on my desk. If I didn't hear from you, I would not have hired you. So where I felt out of place and uncomfortable, that out of place, uncomfortable, get comfortable being uncomfortable, that helped me get the job. So I think, we look at our lives, and I look at my life, and it's this conversation today is really causing me to be very self-reflective and cognizant of the fact that I have heard a ton of no's in my life. So many, hundreds of no's in my life. And what have they made me into? Well, they made me into a man who's very, very strong. They've made me into a man who knows what I want and what I don't. They've made me into a man who believes that I need to be valued. Whether it's romantic or it's friendship or it's family or it's work, I need to be valued. And if I'm not valued, I'm not going to stick around. I made those mistakes in the past. I stuck around people, places, and things where I wasn't valued. And I always gave my all. I'm not mad at what I did, but I came away from it feeling very lost and unfulfilled. You know, it's a tough road. It's a tough road in life. When you are a go-getter and you want things, you are willing to create things that don't exist. You are willing to go to places people don't go. You're willing to have conversations people don't have. You're willing to be vulnerable. You cannot achieve anything in life. You cannot find the love of your life, get married, and have a healthy marriage if you do not let yourself be vulnerable and take a risk. You will not find the best, closest friends that will have your back and be there for you unless you're vulnerable and you take a risk. You will never receive the passion of doing what you love and loving what you do as a real life thing and not just a dream if you're not vulnerable and you don't take a risk. The best thing I can tell you about hearing no is that it's not about the no, it's about what you do after it. Somebody someday is going to see you as the only person that they want to spend the rest of their life with. But you might have 100 no's before then. You might have 10 failed relationships, not even failed relationships, but you might have 10 relationships that didn't work out. You might ask a bunch of people out to the dance and 15 of them say no and number 16 says yes. Maybe you go by yourself. There's a lot of things that are going to happen in your life that you're not going to like. And you're not going to understand, but you think you know what you want until you find something that just sticks out. I've never been somebody that is going to have an easy road of finding the love of my life or creating my business and building my company. I was never going to have an easy road doing that. And when I first set out, I tried to. Not because I didn't want to work hard. I wanted to meet my wife in a sandbox. I wanted to be 4 years old and her and I are playing in the sandbox together. And then we go to school together in elementary school. And then we go to junior high and I muster up the courage to ask her to go on a date with me, and then we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and then in high school we're sweethearts, and then we go to college and we're there together and we love each other, and then, you know, we're together for the rest of our lives. That was my dream. That was my goal. That was my aspiration. It didn't work. And I look back on my life and I say, the man I am today can handle toughness in a relationship. Do I like it? No. Who does? Do I like the sick feeling in your stomach? The feeling of, do I like somebody more than they like me? The feeling of, why didn't someone answer that question? Or why didn't they answer that message, but they answered the one before it or the one after it? Why are they not being open with me right now? Did I do something wrong? Those are questions that come up in every relationship, but I can navigate those better now. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But I've learned in my life that I have to be okay sometimes just having faith. I have to be okay not knowing. I have to be okay putting myself out there not knowing what the heck I'm going to get in return. What's the excitement of telling somebody that you want them to be your girlfriend or boyfriend if you don't know for sure what they're going to say? What's the excitement? You can use fear as a tool or you can use fear as a detriment. And I choose to do the former. Fear to me is a tool. If I'm afraid, then that means I care. And if I care, then it means it matters to me. And if it matters to me, then I should probably do something about it. We all have the fear. It's a conversation that people have where they say, well, they're afraid of bad things, right? They're afraid of bad things happening, right? People have kids. I don't want anything to happen to my kids. I don't want anything to happen to my parents. I don't want anything to happen to my grandparents. The fear of, is this the last time I'm going to see somebody? Is this the last time I'm going to talk to somebody? But there's also the fear of the good. There's the fear of, what if this works out? And then I attach myself to somebody that would devastate me if I lost them. I think a lot of people they want love. They want a partner. But they're terrified of, what if this person doesn't love me? What if they don't love me enough? Not even enough. What if they don't love me as much as I love them? What if they leave? What if they die? What if something happens? If you're 40 years old like me, I mean, in this world, it's fickle. Maybe this has already happened to you in your teens or your 20s, but if you're 40 years old like me, you've experienced a lot of things that would make you not believe. In friendships and relationships and people in business and trust in general, there's a lot of things that maybe are hard to believe, right? And sorry to those on MixLR, because I didn't realize we had our volume down here, so I apologize. But life has opportunity, right? And we have to be willing to take it. We have to be. Or else we get left behind. And I'm telling you this right now, you have to take risks in life. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You have to do that. Because if you don't, you're never going to find anything really worth it. It is scary. It is hard. But I feel like sometimes people are more afraid of the good thing than they are the bad thing or the safe thing. You know, you see people that are not happy in their marriages. That's because they played it safe. They didn't take a risk. Maybe they did something that was logical. This person lives down the street. This person knows my family. They know my neighborhood. We have a similar profession. You know, you take the safe. You take the superficial. But how many people, look at the movies that are made. People fall in love, one of them's sick, one of them's not. People fall in love, one of them lives in France, one of them lives in Florida. People are in love, this person has this going on, this person doesn't. This person has kids, this person wants them. Nothing in life is perfect. And my sandbox dream, why did I have that dream? Because of Boy Meets World and Corey and Topanga. That's why I had that dream. And that's a fake show. Not to say it can't happen, but it's rare. And if you want something rare in your life, you may have to move. You may have to, you're going to have to do things. I had to move multiple times to chase my dreams. And it's funny to me because, you know, you build a life somewhere, but my life is inside of me. My love is inside of me. God is in me. And I in him. And so for me, whenever I get asked the question, be it work, be it personal, could you ever move? And the answer is always yes. Because I'm not tied down to a place. I'm tied to my passion, my desire. More than anything in my life, I've wanted to be a husband and a father. And I've dated in my backyard, and I've dated, you know, states away. And what I've realized is, if I want something rare, I can't tell God where it has to be or where I have to be. Because rare is rare. When you ask for something, you have to be ready for God to give it to you. And I asked God for rare, and he said, okay, well, that may not be in your backyard. That may cause you to have to make a lot of decisions in your life at some point. But do you want it or do you not want it? Because if you want it, you have to understand it comes with the reality that you will be challenged. You have to be. Any relationship, friendship, romantic, business that isn't challenged, you never really know how strong it is. You have to, and in today's world, with everything going on and all of these thoughts attacking our minds from a million different places and everybody, you know, the algorithms trying to manipulate you, we're in a place right now where it's hard for people to believe. It's hard for people to think there's genuinely good people out there. And I'm here to tell you that there is. They're everywhere. I wouldn't have the friends I have if that was false. I wouldn't have the things happen in my life recently if there wasn't good people out there. No one's going to be perfect. And I would caution people, something that you see all the time, is that people only want to be friends with, only want to date, and only want to work with people that are exactly the same as them. And if one thing is different, they're out. And I would say to you that you never know who's going to change your life. My best friend that I have today, I would have never thought. Never. I would have never knew that was a relationship that pushed the way it did. My brothers, I couldn't have picked them out of a lineup before they became my brothers. I didn't know I was going to get Lily. I was supposed to get another dog, and this woman was supposed to sell her dog to me. She did. And then in the same parking lot, a few minutes later, she changed her mind, and it was this really emotional, stressful, crazy situation. But think about if that had worked out, I would have never gotten Lily. There's so many moments in my life where I thought I was going to get something that I didn't get. And I look at my life today and I say my company's bigger than it's ever been. The ideas that I have continue to grow and expand and reach new heights. Like, my business is bigger today after all the no's. My heart is bigger today after all the no's. My mental capacity to take care of myself is better today after everything that's happened to me. And yeah, times get tough. Things get hard. We're never going to be perfect. I'm challenged. You're challenged. Some days we just wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And it sucks. But I'm here to tell you that yes is coming. Yes is on its way. How do I know? Because it's happened to me. People say, how can you prove that God exists? Because I cannot take 100% credit for the way my life has gone. There are things that I would never have anticipated, prepared for, or made the moves to make happen. It has to be somebody looking out for me. And my life has been filled with too many God incidences, divinicities, synchronicities, whatever you want to call them. My life has been filled with too many of those to state that there's anything other than a higher power that has had my back the whole time. Because I have not been my best self. There were times where I heard no, and I really devalued myself. How many jobs do I have to apply to before one calls me back? How many bad relationships do I have to go to find one that I can actually finally rest my head? How many best friends show you years in that you don't really have the relationship you thought you did? People change, things happen. But I am a believer that love exists. I am a believer that true friendship prevails. And I am a believer that dreams can be made into reality. I will always believe those things because I don't have any reason not to. You say, Dan, you just said you've had hundreds of no's, thousands of no's. You have reason. No. Evil has reason. That's what evil does. It tells you Don't try for that job. Because the reality of it all is the job you really want, you're terrified to lose. And if you get that job, okay, if you really, really want that job, you're terrified to hear them say that they don't pick you. And then if they do pick you, you're terrified to lose it. It's the same thing with romantic relationships. That person you really, really think could be the one for you, that terrifies you. Because what if they don't pick you back? And then, what if they do? And how scary that might be. And how scary that might be if she says, yeah, let's do this thing. If he says, all right, babe, let's go. It's scary. Yet, the movies that make millions and billions of dollars all have to... Look at the movies we love the most. Superheroes, right? Ones that stand tall at a time where most would run away. Ones that face adversity at the highest. We watch romantic comedies and dramedies for what? To see that love truly exists and that it prevails. We watch buddy cop and friend movies for what reason? Why do we watch Hangover and Girls Trip and all this stuff? Because we want to have friends like that where no matter how much time passes and the distance and everything else going on in life, that we don't stop having those bonds, that they exist beyond everything. The movies we love to watch tell us it is possible to have greatness. So why in real life are we terrified of it when it approaches us? We watch it over and over and over again. But we're afraid to take it. Isn't that ironic? That someone would watch a romantic comedy dreaming of that, and then you get it, and you're like, nah, this can't be real. Well, the movie's not real, but you watch it. You know what I mean? Those are actors, but you watch it. And where did that idea for the movie come up from? Somebody that might have experienced it. So that movie might be fake, but the story may be real. The names may be different, but the story is true. You get ideas from experiences, hopes, dreams, aspirations. When you believe in something and you really truly want it, nothing will suffice. If I was working, and this is no disrespect to any other profession, if I was a doctor right now, I wouldn't be happy. If I was an electrician, I wouldn't be happy. If I was a dog walker, if I was a priest, I wouldn't be happy right now because it wasn't my calling. It's not the thing that is inside of me. It's not who I know I am. We can chase average, safe, but it's never going to suffice. You know those people that like make a ton of money, but they hate their jobs, and they're just like, yeah, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You get to go on nice trips. Yeah, but the majority of your life is spent doing something you hate. You spend 356 days loathing your life, and you spend just to have a 9-day vacation to get away from it. Why make a lot of money? Well, that's great. Why do you think there's no money in heaven? You think God really cares about how much you make? Money is a human thing, right? It's how we decide. It's how society has decided what we can and cannot have. And it's a form of control. Money is a controlling thing, if you let it be. When I started chasing my dreams and aspirations, there was no guarantee. There still isn't. I could be afraid every single day because what I built with God and I. That was it. There was no other human being helping me build this. If I got lazy and decided to lay in bed and do nothing for the rest of the week, everything I built for 22 plus years could tumble over. Do you think I feel that pressure every day? I don't. You know why? because I love what I do and I trust myself. And I know I'm not going to fail because I can't fail by trying. I did something very few people were doing. Maybe nobody in certain instances, and probably nobody in central and upstate New York. I did something that wasn't understood at the time that I did it. But if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be here today. Do you know how much of a risk I took to leave traditional radio and start my own company? 27 cents in my pocket, $103 in my bank account. I'm 26 years old. I'm living with my grandmother so she doesn't have to live in a nursing home. Do you understand how insane people thought I was? For years, people said, when are you going to go back to traditional radio? When are you going to be on ESPN? When are you going to do something big? People saying things to me not even knowing how disrespectful it was. Like, when are you going to do something important instead of just playing around with your own thing? And now look at the world. 14 years later, look at the world. How many people are playing my game? How many podcasts are out there now? How many people are on internet radio and internet TV? Kids want to be famous on social media. Kids want to have shows on YouTube. Kids want to have shows and, do this internet broadcasts. People are trying to get into podcasting and broadcasting and building businesses and multimedia. All of this stuff that was crazy, misunderstood, or not understood at all that I got into is now a normal, commonplace thing. Most people know what internet broadcasts are. Most people know what social media is. This was strange to the world when I did it. I was a crazy person doing something that was never going to last. Dan was the guy that left a real job to have a job that was never going to pan out. And look at the world 14 years later. Do you know how much faith and trust and belief I had to have in God and myself to take one step forward, let alone the last 15,000? I have to be on every day, have energy every day. I have to be ready. I cannot help make a difference in your life if I am not taking care of mine. I've put myself in a situation where I was building and building and building, and now I look around me and I'm like, wow. It's a great, great, beautiful thing that you built this company up so much that now there's an expectation of you. Now you can't turn around and do less. Now you can't minimize. You've worked your tail off to make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and now the expectation of you is to stay a big thing. To stay national, stay international. You're not just a Syracuse guy. You're not a regional guy. You're not a North guy. You know how hard I fought to build the roots and build the relationships and network and actually create a national and international show? And now that I have it, I can't go be small. I can't go say, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, I could say whatever I want to say. And if I had another passion, I'm not saying, what I'm saying is I wanted people to believe that this was something that they didn't believe it was. And now they believe that it is. So what once was flying under the radar, I'm no longer flying under the radar. I'm very much in front of the radar. I'm on the radar. And that came from believing. That came from faith. That came from hearing a million no's in the hopes that a yes would come through someday. We never know. We never know where the yes is going to come from. But we do know it will never come from the places where it is not asked. I want you to be happy. I want you to be healthy. And I want you to have every beautiful thing in your life happen. I want for you the best. And that doesn't mean that you will not hear a no where you think a yes is coming. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And it doesn't mean you're not going to think at times, why am I still trying? I have those moments to this day. I had those moments a couple months ago. Why am I still trying to do this? Blank, whatever that blank is. The best thing I can say to you, keep going. Because if you're fighting for rare, it's going to take longer and it's going to be harder. Mediocrity is everywhere. You want mediocrity, you could trip over it. But when you really, really, really are committed to having something where you're not cutting corners, business, personal, the love of your life, the one God intends for you, she ain't going to be easy to get. He ain't going to be easy to get. Chasing your dreams and catching them, that's not going to be easy to get. They say the things that come easily go just as easily. Quick in, quick out. The best things in life are the ones you got to work for. There's nothing in my life that is good that I didn't have to really, really work for. When I'm exhausted, when you wake up in the morning and you want to go right back to bed, I've had plenty of those days. Why did I keep going? Because I know what I want in my life. And at 40 years old, I've already realized how hard it is to have some of the things that I want. But it doesn't make me not want them. And no matter how many pretty okay, it's all right, it's not bad, average things come my way, I still yearn for the greatness. I yearn for the woman that sees me as the only option. I yearn for the friends that continue to become brothers and sisters. I yearn for the opportunity to be a dad, whether I'm coming into children that already are there or not. I yearn to grow and expand and chase what I care about. The no's can't stop me because I believe in God and myself way too much. And when I say way too much, it's not. I'm just saying I believe a lot. So my best advice to you is surround yourself with people that believe in you, people that see you as rare, people that treat you as rare. And go after what you want in your life. And I know that it's scary. I fully understand that it's scary because I've lived it. I live it to this day. There's scary things that are bad, and there's scary things that are good. And a message I read years ago put it all in perspective. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's acknowledging the fear and saddling up anyway. Being courageous, going after what you want, does not mean you're not afraid of it or what can happen. It means you're not too afraid to take the step. And I'll tell you this right now, if fear prevents you from going after something, you will never truly be fulfilled. Fear does not equal fulfillment. And that's the truth. And it never will. I'm going to say a prayer before we take a step aside because I think it's important too. And whatever denomination or religion or non-religion, whatever you are, I tell people all the time, I believe in God. I do the sign of the cross. Whatever you believe in, I want you to be here with me because I care about you and I take you as you are. And I hope you will do the same. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, I pray with you today. Number one, I thank you for waking me up this morning. I thank you for everybody that has woken up this morning. I pray all of our loved ones are here, woken up healthy, safe, and well. And I pray that we've only just gotten started. May everyone who needs healing, which all of us do in some way, shape, or form, may we heal completely and for good. And may we, no matter what, heal through you. May we handle well whatever comes our way, in and out of our control. And really remember that most things are out of our control, but may we handle them well. May you help us develop the tools to handle whatever comes our way, in and out of our control. May we not harp on things, worry about things, and may we remember that in the Bible it says, pray about everything, worry about nothing. Worrying has never solved a single problem. It only creates more, because stress can kill. And may stress not kill any of the souls that are here. And I pray for them all and those to come. God, may we be healthy, may we be happy, may we be safe, may we be filled with all of your most precious gifts to do your will and be well. Today, tonight, and so on, whether we're traveling, staying put, or both. And may today, tonight, and so on be long, fun, and go by slowly, in a good way. May we not want life to speed past us by. God, I thank you for the time and the patience that you've had with me. I thank you for the many times I've come to you, crying, yelling, talking softly, smiling, whatever I came to you as. Thank you for accepting me in that moment as I was and guiding me to a better place. Lord, I pray that those that may not believe in you or may not know about you only grow closer to you today and every day from here. I pray that those of us that do know you and have you as a part of our lives do the same, that we acknowledge you, get closer to you today and closer every day from here. Lord, I pray all of our loved ones that have passed on are safe and sound in heaven. I pray that we are safe and sound here on earth. I pray they've reunited with their loved ones that have passed on, including those that they may not even have known. And may we be with our loved ones here on earth. Help us to know who our true loved ones are so that we do not waste our time. And may we forever be bonded to our loved ones until we see them again. May they always be with us, even in death, because dying, Jesus destroyed our death, and rising, he restored our life. Lord, give us clarity of mind and heart. Help our mind and heart to work together and to not be at odds with each other. Please teach us, show us, help us to live life simply. Not that life isn't complicated, but for us to be able to internally simplify so that we truly can hear your voice. And even when you're whispering and the world is shouting, may we hear you. Even when evil is shouting, may we hear you. May we know your voice separate from everyone else's, no matter how loud or how soft it is. May we hear you. May we follow you. May we understand and respect you. And when we find something rare and something beautiful, may we hold on to it. However scared we are, however hard it is, may we hold on. May we trust, may we believe. And when you send us something rare and we hold on, may we see the fruits of that labor. I love you, God, with all that I am, and I pray for everyone watching and listening, as well as everybody who's not, in Jesus' most precious name, for all of our loved ones, for mine, for you, and for myself, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. In your name, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back right after this to wrap up the show. Stay with us.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Hi, this is Chris Rauda.
And Colleen Rakowski from Gray's Craze of Clay.
It's a fun, innovative, upscale catering solution. We've turned eating into a whole new experience. Each of our boards is packed with delicious mix of artisan cheeses. We use premium cured meats, fresh fruits, nuts, and all of the sweet touches that really bring out the best in every perfect bite.
We offer something as small as a grab and go that feeds one, maybe two people, to our large board that can serve anywhere up to 25, 28 people. So we have the ability to really meet and hopefully exceed all of our customers' expectations when it comes to the different varieties of things that we have.
Charcuterie boards or boxes are healthy, fresh, delicious. They're made to order. We're baking the breads here daily. We're baking the cookies here daily. All of our dips are homemade, made in-house. All of our spreads are all made in-house.
When you open that board or box that we have delivered or you have picked up, we want you to know that it was made with care and designed to completely elevate your event, celebration, or meeting.
We've catered parties and events for up to 300 people. So if you're walking in to grab something for lunch or something for date night or movie night, that's great too. Our events go from you eating in the car on the way home to a catering event in a rehearsal dinner or cocktail hour or party.
When we do, again, know what the event is specifically for a wedding, we like to schedule tastings so the bride and groom can come in and see what we have to offer, and we can then, as we talk, to try to understand what they're looking for, what the venue's like. We do like to have that one-on-one interaction when it comes to catering bigger events.
Our address is 4599 State Route 31, Suite 5, in Clay, New York. We're on the corner of Route 31 and Henry Clay at Clay Marketplace.
You can order on the phone by calling area code 315-409-4171 or online at gracecraze.com/clay-ny. Come visit us at Gray's Craze of Clay, New York,
where we want you to celebrate everything.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks and be a big kid, make a memory today. It is something special. And for those, listen, I've been collecting cards pretty much my whole life, and I just see the value and the excitement of it, right? Opening a pack of cards or a box of cards and not knowing what you're going to get. Am I going to get my favorite player, an autograph I really want? Is there going to be a one of one? There's this mystery to opening cards and just being in that world, the suspense of it all and the excitement, and then to find other people in the community to do it with and become friends with those people. And GG Cards and Breaks has given me so many wonderful friends simply from all loving being big kids and loving getting around the teams and the sports and the characters that we enjoy. So head over to GG Cards and Breaks today on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Make a memory. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5, and I can't wait to see what you're going to get next, so make sure you head over there and find out. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Corner Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Chick-fil-A is waiting for you with their pineapple dragon fruit, as well as their seasonal opportunity for the new, I should say it's a sandwich it's not new, it's just returned. And that's the honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich. You can get that today at the wonderful Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. They have a double drive-through, a massive parking lot, and a giant brick building. You cannot miss them, so make sure you head over there to see Megan Sorber and her team, bringing you your Chick-fil-A favorites, as well as those new frosted beverage opportunities, as well as the pineapple dragon fruit and the return of that chicken sandwich that you love, the honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich. So a lot of great stuff happening at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Go and see them today. And remember, they open Monday through Saturday, closed on Sunday in honor of our Lord. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show and be hanging out here with me on Monday through Friday mornings. But again, what did I say? I promise you 2 hours of broadcast, and this show is just shy of 3 hours and 40 minutes. So we've almost doubled what I promised we would do, but under promise, over deliver. That's what I'm all about. And I appreciate y'all for being here for the ride. Up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.mixlr.com. Make sure you get in touch Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time and beyond. As you know, we continue to rock on past 11 almost always. Big time shout out to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure to download, follow, and subscribe to us on all of these wonderful channels. And make sure to head out to our wonderful partners in Central and Upstate New York. They are a part of this team for a reason. There's something I've seen in all of them, and it's been beautiful building these relationships. Great Lakes Honda City, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, Myers Creek, the Baked Potato Express, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A in Cicero, Skippy's Ice Cream, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, Willow Rock Brewing Company and the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, Game Point Sports Complex, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Brian's Landing, Avicolli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Gray's Craze of Clay, New York, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. Find your Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, featuring stories from student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni like Jessica Phillips, who will be inducted to the Binghamton University Hall-of-Fame here in 2026 for everything that she did on and off the field in her work as a student athlete on the softball team. Big time shout out to CNS North Star native Jessica Phillips for a wonderful, memorable conversation that will air as its own separate video on our YouTube and Facebook channels. It'll be shared on X as well, so look out for that today. And you can find all of our Binghamton content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on the show, Ma and Pa's bringing you the list of topics and guests for today and for every broadcast of Wake Up Call in the morning. So thank you to Ma and Pa's. Go and visit them and set your taste buds into a beautiful place and a wonderful, I call it like the amusement park for your taste buds. So head out to Ma and Pa's today on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York for their lemonade, cotton candy, their chocolate dipped pretzels, chocolate dipped Oreos, their freeze dried candy, all of their kettle corn, popcorn, the caramel corn, of course. So many awesome, tasty treats at Ma and Pa's. We look forward to you heading out there today. And if you don't live in the area, you can go to maandpaspopcorn.com and you can order from them from anywhere you are. So you can get it sent to New Jersey, sent to Florida, sent to Texas, sent to California. You want Ma and Pa's, go to maandpaspopcorn.com. That's and spelled out, maandpaspopcorn.com. Big time shout out to my fellow broadcaster, writer, and more importantly, my brother, Ross Turetsky. Many thanks to the wonderful Jessica Phillips, and a congratulations once again on getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. I love the fact that we got to tell the story going into the Hall of Fame and revisit all of those wonderful moments in her life and tell her story and speak on her journey. And of course, understand that the road of no's will eventually show you that a yes is coming. And keep your positivity, keep your heart, keep doing things with a pure heart and good intentions, and know that God has your back and it will work out. That brought to you by the Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by Avicolli's. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say God bless, no stress, do your best. Enjoy the World Cup today. Look out for our videos of setting the table, and make sure that you get your snacks from Gray's Craze to watch the World Cup here in Central and Upstate New York. So have a great day. God bless you all. Stay safe and be yourself.